estate planning, tax planning, financial planning, all of it wrapped together in one transparent fee.
Know the difference with Annex Wealth Management. Click the Get Started button at annexwealth.com.
Recently, a seller that unfortunately ended up choosing another agent called me. She said she made a mistake, and what she was expressing to me sounded like she kind of was bullied into signing with him. Is it typical? Not always, but it will never happen when you hire a Century 21 Benefit Realty agent. I want our agents to be able to look in the mirror and say, I'd want to work with me. Not because they're good at saying what you want to hear or offer the lowest commission, but because of trust. Because if you're not feeling that from your agent, that's a problem. And I don't want that. At 1.9% on the listing side of your sale with our commission capped at $19,000, Century 21 Benefit Realty leads with a very fair and transparent commission structure with maximum marketing that can get your home sold fast and for the best price. And saving money matters, but working with someone who will tell you exactly what you need to know up front, that creates trust. And that matters too. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
I'm with Eric, Director of Research for Good Karma Brands. They have business technology from James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner. Eric, what does partner mean to you?
Partner isn't just out for them. The partner cares about how we solve our problems, and it can be a mutually beneficial relationship from there on.
And I understand throughout the more than 15-year partnership between Good Karma Brands and James Imaging Systems, you have shared many core values.
Absolutely. Work hard, be honest, over-deliver, follow through, listen, teamwork.
Eric, summarize your overall business technology partnership with James Imaging Systems for me.
Outstanding. As we've grown tremendously and you guys have still been able to meet our needs each step of our growth, that's huge.
AI-driven workflow automation, security enhancements, and digital transformation from James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner. Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com.
It's the most wonderful time of year at Staples. They've got back-to-school supplies as low as 25 cents, up to 40% off select tech, and more at staples.com/back-to-school. Staples, that was easy.
The place you want to go, Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
Trusted, relevant, locally owned, locally programmed. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ Milwaukee.
It's just afternoon. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Monday, July 27th. I'm Jessica Ty. Your top story, a deputy and his canine partner recovering after a crash that closed a highway.
I'm Mike Spalding. The worst of the weather's over. However, some severe threats still remain.
Speaking of that, a heat advisory is in effect for all of southeastern Wisconsin. That goes until 9 o'clock tonight. Today, more storms are possible later on. We have a high of 88 degrees today. We'll dip to 67 for the low tonight. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, a Milwaukee County Sheriff's deputy and his canine are recovering after a crash that shut down I-94 northbound in Oak Creek this morning.
Send emergence assistance to the freeway. We're taking calls of I-94 northbound between Drexel and Rawson. A deputy's been struck and is unresponsive. We're getting the fire department headed that way.
That sound courtesy of Broadcastify. Authorities say deputies were responding to a different semi-crash near Drexel Avenue when a sheriff's squad was hit. Happened around 4 o'clock this morning, created quite the mess. The deputy was taken to a hospital, but is expected to be okay.
Well, the worst of the storms this late morning, early afternoon are over. However, some rain is still lingering over southeast Wisconsin. Could leave quite the impact throughout the afternoon. Again, after those strong storms for the last hour or so. Flash flood warnings in effect for much of Kenosha and Racine counties. WTMJ meteorologist Craig Coplain.
For all of Kenosha County and western Racine County until 3 o'clock. This flash warning is indicated. Doppler radar and automated rain gauges are telling us that 2 to 3 inches of rain have fallen in Kenosha and western Racine County, and another inch or 2 is possible in this warned area.
Your full 5-day forecast is coming up in just a couple of moments.
As the Madison community grapples with the question of police force after last week's deadly shooting, it brings back memories for a father from Kenosha. More than 2 decades ago, Michael Bell's son was shot dead by Kenosha police. He tells Wisconsin's Weekend Morning News the community might be asking the wrong question.
I think that we can go into the training academies and we can train better what is necessary instead of what is justified. And that's what happens in the NTSB style learning model. They don't say what's right. They don't say what's wrong. They look at it and they say what contributed to this death and how do we prevent it from happening again.
Bell has advocated for legislation that would track use of force incidents to improve police training.
Meanwhile, the city of Madison is backing away from any proposed police oversight changes.
The decision comes after Common Council President Sabrina Madison met with the chair of the Police Civilian Oversight Board following last week's deadly shooting of Corey Ruiz. President Madison hinted last week that changes to the proposals were likely.
The amendments are not final, and because we got the education from NACO, from the law group, I expect revisions. I expect maybe things are going to be pulled.
Madison confirmed Monday the amendments are being withdrawn. She says the city will now focus on a more collaborative approach to police oversight with help from restorative justice facilitators. Nizer Spencer, WTMJ News.
A manhunt continues right now for a second gunman after a fatal shooting at a food festival in Seattle. 3 people were killed, including a toddler. 4 others were hurt. The Seattle Police Department says quick action by authorities was key.
Thankfully, we had officers on the scene that were brave, went to those shots, and prevented more victims from being injured.
2 guns have been recovered. No details have been released yet about the suspect in custody.
Time now for some news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up right now about 74 points at 52,021. The S&P 500, that's down about 26 points at 73.85. The Nasdaq down as well, 170 points in the red at 24,805. Annex Wealth Management, know the difference.
The countdown to camp is on. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, East 1207.
Hi, guys. This is the Rocket Roger Clemens. You don't pitch in the majors for 24 years without feeling it later. Shoulders, elbows, knees. Trust me, pain doesn't retire when you do.
That's baseball legend Roger Clemens.
I tried the ice. I tried rest, PT, nothing really worked. When I heard about QC Kinetics, the concept sounded promising. Non-surgical regenerative treatments that help your body heal itself without surgery. Sign me up. Just what I needed. Real lasting relief.
Whether you're a former pro, a weekend golfer, or just want to walk around pain-free again, QC Kinetics uses cutting-edge technology and natural biologics to help restore and repair damaged tissue.
I trusted them with my joints. Now I'm back doing what I love.
Call QC Kinetics today and schedule your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-667-5559. That's 414-667-5559. 414-667-5559.
Do you want the economy mulch or the premium? The only real difference is that the premium mulch has thicker strands, while the economy mulch is finer. But the colorant we use for both is of the highest quality, and that's why the color of our mulch lasts longer. And our mulch comes from trees, not pallets, and we process it all in-house. That's why our prices are so low. Erickson's Landscape Supply, high-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection. At Erickson's Landscape Supply, we have durable, maintenance-free polywood patio furniture and #1 grade treated natural pine Amish-made patio furniture. And we also have a wonderful assortment of concrete benches, statues, and fountains available in a selection you just gotta see to believe. Erickson's Landscape Supply, high-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less, plus a whole lot more. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection or stop on in today.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Your Green Bay Packers kickoff training camp this week starts on Wednesday. 12 public practices will be open to the public this summer. Family night at Lambeau Field has been set for August 7th. A homestand results in a win for the Brewers as they take down the Rockies 11-2 yesterday. Jacob Mizorowski, another gem for him. He struck out 12 out of the 13 batters he faced. Retired the first 14 batters overall. He ended up allowing 1 run on a hit, walked nobody through 59 of his 83 pitches for strikes.
Yeah, I felt a lot better today. Felt like I was in my legs better. So, felt like I was in a good spot. Just can trust the heater, and me and Gary really, ran with that.
And tonight, the Brewers are back in action. They are out in San Francisco. Our coverage begins at 8:10 right here on WTMJ.
Checking Checking out the roads with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. And just to give you an idea here, I pulled up the big board, checking out the map, and I said, whoa, it is a mess out there. Just to summarize it, we have a number of crashes. Be careful. It's a wet day. The roads are wet right now, and we are seeing crashes due to Mother Nature in part. Let's start here in Racine County, 4194 North, just a little bit beyond the ramp from 7 Mile Road. The center lane is blocked because of a crash there. Emergency responders are at the scene. There is a significant backup right now. That's 4194 North, just a little bit beyond the ramp from 7 Mile Road. That one popped up just before noon. We also have another crash as we get closer to the Milwaukee area. The ramp from 4143 894 East to 4394 North. Left lane is blocked there due to a crash. It looks like, let me take a peek at the cameras here. We have so many crashes right now, but let me bring up the camera on this one. I don't see emergency responders for either of these cameras yet. It's possible that they were just headed out there or that this one is about to be cleared. Let's take a peek closer to the city now because we have more crashes. I want to let you know in case you are headed out there what you are dealing with. I-43 South at the ramp from 145 Fond du Lac Avenue. Right shoulder is closed because of a crash there. That's right in the heart of the city. We've got a disabled vehicle 43 North at the ramp from North Avenue. Left shoulder is blocked because of that one. As we head closer to the Menominee Falls area, looks like that one's okay, just a disabled vehicle. Ooh, one crash just cleared. I like that. We do have another crash that just popped up minutes ago, 4145 North at the ramp from Holy Hill Road. Left shoulder is closed because of that crash. A couple of disabled vehicles out there as well, but I wanted to take the time to tell you about the crashes. Slow down out there. It's a messy afternoon.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast. A heat advisory remains in effect for all of southeast Wisconsin until 9 o'clock tonight. Due to the extreme heat this afternoon. The rain, again, mainly mostly gone. Some of it lingering still over the lakefront. High today, 88 degrees. Overnight tonight, some of those rain showers could stick around, a low of 67. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high of 80 degrees. Wednesday, sunny skies, a high 82. Thursday, mostly sunny, a high of 87 degrees. And on Friday, chance of rain showers once again, mostly cloudy otherwise, a high of 82 degrees. Right now in Milwaukee, it is 78 degrees. Outdoor Living Unlimited.
From the Annex Wealth Management Studios in downtown Milwaukee, it's Wisconsin's Midday News, making stories come to life. Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Ty, and in for Greg Matzek, it's Mike Spalding.
Happy Monday!
Happy Monday.
It's a rough Monday for a lot of people, though. Wow, this weather. I mean, you've got the heat, and then we have the tornado warnings, and you've got flood problems. It's a bit of a mess.
Well, and don't forget about the fog this morning. It was like a full blanket fog till like 7 a.m.
You're right, but I'll tell you what, with everything else, I did kind of forget about it. Maybe I was in a little bit of fog this morning. We have a packed show for you today. Coming up this hour, what should worry Wisconsin more? Higher prices, fewer families, or artificial intelligence? We'll get the answers from the MMAC. Then later, the remaining dogs are about to leave Ridgeland Farms in Dane County. Is this the end of the story or the start of another chapter? But first,
it's now at noon on Wisconsin's Midday News.
weather is the story impacting everyone today. A tornado warning for Waukesha, Jefferson, Dodge, Kenosha, Racine, and Walworth counties just expired. In this case, there was rotation indicated on radar. If you saw something in your neck of the woods, feel free to text us on the Sonny Unlimited WTMJ Talk and Text line. That's 855-616-1620. We'd love to know what you saw. Waukesha Memorial Hospital went into action in the midst of the warning. Patients tell us there was an announcement made at the hospital and they all moved into the hallway just to be safe. Smart move there. A severe thunderstorm warning is still in effect for most of southeastern Wisconsin. That goes just for a couple of minutes here. Once we get past this round of weather, there could be more storms to come. Our friends over at Storm Team 4 say when the cold front passes later on this afternoon, additional scattered storms could bring hail and heavy winds. Meteorologist Lauren Larson is tracking those storms. She'll join us coming up live at 1:37 to detail exactly what's coming, when it's going to hit, and who's likely to get it.
Well, the on-again, off-again war with Iran is back off. At least it is yesterday and again today. President Trump says he's giving the ongoing peace talks with Iran, quote, some space as the U.S. has once again pushed a pause on those strikes. ABC's Rachel Scott.
Sources tell me today that President Trump is now holding off on a major escalation against Iran to give way for diplomacy to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. I'm told the president was prepared to launch a series of strikes on Friday, but decided to hold off. Sources also say officials discussed the impact a major attack could have on the U.S.'s depleting stock of air defense interceptors.
As a result of the new, I guess you could call it a ceasefire, oil prices have dropped. As of this morning, the price of Brent crude, which is the global benchmark for oil, fell about 8% to $89 per barrel. Now, Jessica, whether or not it impacts our gas prices is yet to be seen. If it's a quick shift in what we're going to be doing in Iran, you might not see any effort, or you might not see any relief, I should say. Now, if it is a extended ceasefire, we could see gas start to drop a few cents, maybe at the end of the week.
Please, yes drop
nice.
it. Just a few cents at least would be nice. Well, we are now less than 60 minutes away from the annual Green Bay Packers shareholders meeting. Thousands of shareholders are up at Lambeau Field this afternoon, and this is the first shareholders meeting led by new Packers president and CEO Ed Policy. The meeting gets underway at 1 o'clock this afternoon. It really gives team leaders a chance to reflect on the past year and then, of course, outline what's ahead for the organization. It's technically a business meeting, which sounds boring, right? But it's also one of the Packers' biggest traditions for fans. And get excited, Packers fans. Training camp begins Wednesday, coming up just like that.
Have you ever gone to a shareholders meeting?
No, but you know what's in my bag, Mike? And I'll have to pull it out later.
I hope it's
It's the letter that invites you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So you've been invited, just not yet.
I just haven't gone yet. Because I keep thinking it's technically a business meeting. But at some point, yeah.
It's fun.
It's about tradition. Have you
Policy
gone?
would get out there. Yeah, I was out there maybe my second year report. It was pre-COVID. I went out there for news purposes and got to see everyone and just experience it. I think it's a really good opportunity, especially if I was then a young reporter, to see why, the people feel the way they do about the Green Bay Packers and also meet some shareholders.
A young pup covering the Packers.
Yes.
Gotta love that. 3 stories, one big question. Is Wisconsin economy headed in the right direction? We'll ask the MMAC next. It's 12:17.
Healthy joints, healthy lifestyle. Vince Vitrano for Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Arthritis, injuries, wear and tear, common joint issues that keep you from doing what you love. At OAW, a visit to the doctor doesn't always mean surgery. Everyone is different. Surgeons, nurses, physical therapists work together to come up with a plan for you. Maybe it's PT, medication, injection, and if you do need surgery like I did, you know you're in the best of hands. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, there is a difference. Book an appointment online at orthowisconsin.com.
Where you live matters. Searching for assisted living can bring a lot of questions and a lot of emotion. At the Wisconsin Assisted Living Association, we believe you need a clear, complete picture without pressure. That's why we partnered with the American Seniors Housing Association on whereyouLiveMatters.org, a one-stop destination with unbiased information to help you understand your options and connect directly with providers in your area. No confusion, just tools that help you take the next step with confidence. Start your research today at whereyouLiveMatters.org.
See Europe from a completely new perspective with Fox World Travel and Avalon Waterways. Cruising down legendary rivers like the Danube or the Rhine, your luxury boutique hotel travels with you. Relax in award-winning panorama suites featuring wall-to-wall windows, enjoy premium local wine and dining, and step off directly into the heart of historic castles and villages. Your next incredible river cruise awaits. Call 866-GO-FOX-GO or visit foxworldtravel.com today.
You know who forms the #1 bank in Wisconsin? Horicon Bank. Hello, I'm Eric Weissman. Thank you to our customers for helping Horicon Bank earn this recognition. From everyday banking, mortgage lending, trust administration, 55 or better Gliders Club, and My Money for Kids, Horicon Bank has solutions for every stage of life. And let's not forget about our incredible business banking team. I personally invite you to learn more about Horicon Bank at horiconbank.com or stop by one of our branches today.
Horicon Bank MLS 434805, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
A new report claims President Trump's tariffs are costing the average Wisconsin family more than $1,000 a year while eliminating thousands of manufacturing jobs. At the same time, Milwaukee is seeing one of the nation's sharpest declines in children living in the city, raising concerns about schools, housing, and the future workforce. And after months of AI-fueled hiring freezes, some of America's biggest employers are starting to hire again. Ryan Amundsen from the MMAC joins us live in the studio to separate the headlines from the economic reality and explain what all this means for Wisconsin businesses and workers. Great to have you back, Ryan.
You got all the good bullet points. My job's done.
Oh, no way, because you're diving into this. So this report says tariffs are costing the average Wisconsin household about $1,095 a year. How do we compare to other states?
Well, we're actually in pretty good shape compared to other states, especially here in the Midwest. Average across the Midwest is just over $2,000 that it's costing households. One of the reasons they're citing for Wisconsin doing a little bit better is because the amount of consumption we have of U.S. goods and services for businesses and households here. So we're not quite as it's not quite as rough for Wisconsin residents. But overall, I mean, I think it proves once again that broad-based tariff policy like this it acts like a tax. 90% of all costs induced by tariffs are being picked up by small businesses and by households here in the state.
Well, and that pickup by small businesses is costing thousands of jobs. I'm just looking at the numbers. About 4,000 of manufacturing jobs statewide have been lost. Ryan, when you talk tariffs, I love how you just framed it. It's a big tent pole kind of thing.
It is.
A lot of things are impacted. And when you're looking at companies, these jobs are gone. Do you guys get the sense that they're interested in hiring people back, or is it like once it's gone, we'll find a way to innovate, and that's how we're going to go about things moving forward?
Well, certainly no company wants to reduce their headcount, but I think they want to bring these back. But again, it's a tax. This is costing, and I think most of it is the uncertainty of what's happening too. I mean, tariffs can be used as a tool in certain circumstances, but this broad-based policy is hurting both households here in the state as well as businesses. And they've lost about 6,000 jobs according to the study across the state in manufacturing. Now, again, we're not quite as bad as some other states. Michigan has double that number, 12,000. But again, we're not at the bottom either. Iowa's got about 3,000 jobs that have been lost due to these tariffs, according to the report. So it's making a dent in both household income and in the number of jobs here in the state.
Well, we've talked about this before, birth rates falling, but now we're finding out big cities are being hit even harder. What is Milwaukee seeing?
Yeah, we're being hit too as far as birth rates here in the city. It looks like about 11% reduction in the number of children that are living here in the city of Milwaukee over the last several years. Not a surprise that birth rates are going down. They're going down across the country. Yeah. But big cities are seeing the brunt of these numbers too. So it impacts a lot of things. It impacts education, how much money you're going to be investing in education. It impacts housing, like you said before. We have to turn these things around or else find new residents to come in. And I think that's where immigration comes in too.
Well, Ryan, where my head went when I was reading these stats immediately went to like entry-level workers. I mean, and now granted, you're looking 16, 17, 18 years down the road a little bit, but that's got to factor into some of these long-term plans, right?
Sure, you need to keep a talent pipeline filled, and by having birth rates, lower birth rates, and then these numbers were eye-popping. 11% reduction in the number of children here in the city of Milwaukee, and you're going to see some real impact down the road with those numbers.
When I think of the workforce too, you think about, okay, if we're not having as many kids, obviously that impacts it. But also I think about counties like Door County, especially right now, they were hit hard this year because they have a lot of people who come in from overseas to work, and there were issues with that this year. So if you combine that, having issues with that, they're already having a tough time with the workforce, and now you add this to the mix.
Absolutely. Yeah, you look at industries like hospitality where you're getting a lot of teenagers, and I mean, we're not there yet. They have to age into these roles too. But down the road, once again, you're seeing down the road that this could have a huge impact on our talent pipeline.
Well, we've heard for 2 years, at least, that AI would replace jobs. We are seeing that in some cases, but now we're hearing many companies are hiring again, which is good news for a lot of people. What changed?
I think the predictions that these were going to that AI was going to come in and replace people en masse isn't panning out. Now, is it going to change down the road? Don't know. I mean, we're still early on in this new era as well. But a lot of companies, you look at Google, they're hiring people back. A lot of businesses are finding out that when you incorporate artificial intelligence into your operations, you need people there to sit down and do these things as well. Also, AI hasn't. They're finding AI hasn't moved quickly enough to take some of these jobs as well. They're not seeing the quality control, I guess you might want to call it. So yeah, a number of companies are looking at bringing people back into the fold, not only to sit with AI and help it along, but there's sales positions that are opening up and just some natural growth trajectories that some of these businesses want. They need more people.
How does what Google's doing or Facebook's doing or OpenAI or whatever it is that something that you guys at the MMAC pay attention to? Because again, it is a little bit long-term forecasting, but it is looking at the future and issues that some of these employers could be facing down the road.
Yeah, well, and it goes hand in hand with what we just talked about too, as far as birth rates and yeah, those are things that we're absolutely looking at as an organization that looks out for the well-being of business here in the community. Talent, growth, and livability are the things that those are our three main pillars. And obviously talent's at the forefront. So yes, it's something that we absolutely are keeping an eye on.
Okay, real quick here, Ryan. If you look across all three of these stories that we just talked about, tariffs, demographics, and AI, which do you think poses the biggest long-term challenge for our state's economy?
Birth rate. I think it is. I mean, we have to keep people in the pipeline and ready to take those roles down the road. Yeah, I think birth rate, absolutely.
Ryan Amundsen with the MMAC. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
The Economic Spotlight sponsored by Horicon Bank. Together, doing good. HoriconBank.com, the natural choice. Local news and your top national headlines coming up next.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Brian Wicker, Chief Homebuyer Helper with Wisconsin's own Accunet Mortgage. Nicer homes are still getting multiple offers over asking, and there's only one winner per listing. I want to help you be that winner, which is why I just increased the rock-solid pre-approval guarantee to $10,000. It's all about getting the seller to pick your offer over the others. So Accunet is now guaranteeing in writing to pay the seller 10,000 American bucks if we can't make good on the terms of your fully verified rock-solid pre-approval. Banks don't do that. We're willing to stand behind our work and stand behind you with a $10,000 guarantee that sellers will definitely notice. Maybe you've been writing offers and losing, which feels terrible, or maybe you're just starting out. Either way, don't settle for a flimsy bank pre-approval and let someone else end up sleeping in your dream home. Give the seller 10,000 reasons to say yes to your offer with Accunet's new $10,000 rock-solid seller guarantee. Get started with yours today at accunet.com.
And now, about your house. Eric Brown is the president of Siding Unlimited, your contractor for new windows, roofing, siding, decks, and a whole lot more. He knows about your house. So what do you know, Eric?
Recently, Siding Unlimited installed new windows in a home, and the homeowner loved the experience. Linda W. said, I was extremely satisfied with the service that was provided by Siding Unlimited. I had a new roof and new windows installed in my house. Linda loved that she chose the right company for peace of mind. She also loved the colors. Larry, another Siding Unlimited customer, was thrilled with the experience. Larry's home looks brand new. Go to our Siding Unlimited Instagram page and see our pinned message to listen to Larry's testimonial, but also see his house. Again, Siding Unlimited, knocking it out of the park. Looking for new windows, siding, roofing, and doors? Visit the 5-time Pella Platinum Premier National Window Contractor of the Year winner at sidingunlimited.com. Definitely listen to Larry on Instagram at Siding Unlimited LLC.
Eric and his crews at Siding Unlimited are your go-to contractor here for roofing and also replacement windows, decks, and of course siding. They've done it all at the Matzik households over the years. It started with windows, transforming our 1953 Milwaukee home into something beautiful. And then, on our new house, brand new LP Smart Side siding. Built 8 years ago, our house still looks brand new. Make sure to connect with Eric about patio projects as well. They've expanded our outdoor living space to an area fit with a beautiful cedar pergola, paver patio, gas fire pit, and more. The best in lighting? I can control it from my phone. All there at Siding Unlimited. Truly siding and a whole lot more. Take the next step and check them out at sidingunlimited.com. Siding Unlimited. Truly siding and a whole lot more.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here. It's been more than 3 years, and I'm telling you, my garage doors from J.D. Griffiths still look brand new. They pop. J.D. Griffith has been installing garage doors and building detached garages for decades. And right now, J.D. Griffiths wants to do something for you. The first 10 people to go to the website and mention WTMJ can get $100 off a garage renovation, $100 off a new door, or $500 toward a new garage build. Go to jdgriffiths.com/WTMJ right now.
When you run a team, you want great uniforms, and you know selling spiritware is vital. That's why Burkhart Sporting Goods will create a free custom website for you to sell your families and players the coolest spiritware from Nike and Under Armour, as well as the basics, while helping you fundraise at the same time. We take the hassle out of coordinating your team's apparel and make shopping and buying easy. So when you need awesome spiritware and uniforms for your organization, you can't beat Burkhart.
You can't beat Burkhart.
It's 12:30. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Monday, July 27th. I'm Jessica Ty. Your top story, power outages in southeastern Wisconsin.
I'm Mike Spalding, recovering after an explosion in Cedarburg.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Following 2 weeks of renewed hostilities, the U.S. and Iran now agreeing to pause airstrikes. The White House says President Trump decided against striking Iran forcefully over the weekend. Sources tell ABC News one big reason was to preserve anti-missile defense systems like Patriots. Here's ABC's Karen Travers.
The president also spoke to Axios this morning, and he said that he would consider going back to what he called, quote, very strong military action if talks between the U.S. and Iran were to fail. And he also said he's not really willing to give diplomacy all that much time. He was pushed on how long he is willing to give the diplomatic talks at this point, and he said either it goes fast or not at all.
Federal health regulators tracing the surge of cyclosporiasis cases, one of the biggest now in U.S. history. The CDC says 4 more states are now linked to recent cases of the parasitic illness and shredded lettuce iceberg lettuce. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Times, 1231.
From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, more than 20,000 We Energies customers are still without power across southeastern Wisconsin. The utility says crews are working right now to restore service. Customers without electricity are encouraged to report outages online through the We Energies app or to call that outage in. Don't assume that they know about it. They're also reminding people to stay at least 25 feet away from any down power lines. Always assume those lines are energized.
The afternoon storms overwhelming dry grounds across southeast Wisconsin, creating a flash flood warning in both Racine and Kenosha counties. WTMJ meteorologist Craig Copeland.
For all of Kenosha County and western Racine County until 3 o'clock. This flash warning is indicated. Doppler radar and automated rain gauges are telling us that 2 to 3 inches of rain have fallen in Kenosha and western Racine County, and another inch or 2 is possible in this warned area.
Jessica, the National Weather Service putting out yet another alert saying that a strong thunderstorm right now making its way through Milwaukee County. That rain could linger till about 1 this afternoon. Your full 5-day forecast coming up in just a couple of moments.
Mother Nature busy on this Monday. New details now about an explosion in the town of Cedarburg. It left 2 men with critical injuries.
The 2 men hurt on Saturday are police officer Michael Fager and his father Carl. Fager is an officer with the Village of Newburgh Police Department and a lieutenant at the Village of Jackson Police Department. Ozaukee County Sheriff's Office calls the explosion of a metal shed on their property accidental and says it may have involved a propane tank. Officer Fager and his father are in critical but stable condition at a Milwaukee burn center. A dog was also hurt and taken to an animal hospital. Jessica Gatzo, WTMJ News.
The teenagers died after a crash between a vehicle and an e-bike. This happened in Sheboygan, right near 25th and Broadway, Saturday evening. Police say a 14-year-old boy on an e-bike did not stop at a stop sign, was struck by a car. The teen did later die at the hospital. The driver of that vehicle, identified only as a 25-year-old man from Sheboygan, was not injured. Police say he is cooperating with the investigation.
Decision, Wisconsin. More than 90,000 Wisconsinites have already sent in their absentee ballot, but some candidates have since dropped out of the governor's race. UWM political professor Mordecai Lee tells WTMJ state law does not often allow voters to make changes.
There are some circumstances where a ballot would be considered spoiled and can be redone. But the election commissioner said once the village clerk or the city clerk has received it from the post office, that's it. You can't change it.
The state Democratic Party has asked the Wisconsin Elections Commission to let absentee voters cast new ballots after Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez dropped out of the race and Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley re-entered.
Sports, traffic, and weather next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Times, 12:34.
When I hit my 50s, I felt like things were slowing down.
This is Sandra's Metamucil story.
I started taking Metamucil for digestion, but had no idea it would impact so much more. Not only did Metamucil help me feel more regular, but my heart health saw the benefits too.
Metamucil. One simple routine, 4 health benefits. Digestive health starts here. Go to Metamucil.com for more details.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight illnesses like pneumococcal pneumonia and RSV. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and can help protect you from getting really sick. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. See more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
The other day I received a call from a customer who had these beautiful old tables that at one time were covered with glass tops. But one day a coffee mug dropped, and just like that, those beautiful tables went right into retirement. You know how it goes. Once a glass top of a set of tables breaks, they go into the basement or the garage and do a great job at collecting dust. The customer never knew who could help, but when she asked, I readily said, "Oh, we can replace that. In fact, there are a lot of things we can do with glass. We could even sandblast a beautiful custom design into your new glass tops." This is Stacy Sinks with Less's Glass Service, and glass and mirrors have been our business for over 35 years. So if it's a new glass shower door, fogged or broken insulated glass replacement, or affordable glass and mirror home decor that you've been looking for, you just can't pass on Less's Glass. Less's Glass Service, serving all of southeastern Wisconsin. Find us at lessglassservice.com.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all sports desk. The Brewers blow out the Rockies 11-2 at American Family Field to take the weekend series. Brew Crew out west tonight. They're in San Francisco to take on the Giants. It's a 3-game set out west. Our coverage gets underway at 8:10 right here on WTMJ. And with Packers training camp set to open up on Wednesday this week, quarterback Jordan Love says the team's ready to get back to work. He spent Sunday in Milwaukee hosting a free youth football camp where WTMJ caught up with him.
I'm excited. I love the guys we got. I love the team we got. I think everybody's in a good place. And so now it's time to get back for training camp and keep building on the things we left off on OTAs and get ready to attack the season.
The Packers players will all be up in Green Bay on Wednesday prepping for the 2026-2027 season.
Let's get you an update on the roads with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. It is a mess this afternoon. Definitely give yourself more time and just be patient because we have a handful of crashes across the system. Let's start first. 4145 north at the ramp from Holy Hill Road. The left lane is blocked because of a crash there. I'm taking a peek at the cameras for you. Numerous emergency responders are out there. I see a fire truck. I see you've got lights galore. Looks like an ambulance out there. A bunch of people off to the left-hand side right now. Traffic is moving very, very slowly in that spot. That crash, 4145 north at the ramp from Holy Hill Road. Heads up there. We also have another crash closer to Milwaukee. I-43 south at the ramp from 145 Fond du Lac Avenue. Right shoulder is closed because of that crash. As I take a peek out in the Brookfield and Elm Grove area, looks like that crash is clear. Good news there. Just a couple of disabled vehicles out of the system. As we go closer to the airport, there's another one. A crash. I-43, 41 894 east is on the ramp to I-43 north. Left lane is blocked due to a crash. Doesn't look like that one is showing up on the cameras. Oftentimes I like to tell you what exactly is happening out there, but that is in a construction zone. You've got construction barrels off to the side. Definitely be careful. Give yourself a little extra time. The roads are wet. One more crash I want to let you know about. This is a significant one as well. 4194 north, very close to the ramp from 7 Mile Road. The left center is blocked. The center lane, is blocked due to a crash. That's down in Racine County.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast. A severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 1:15 this afternoon in Kenosha County. Severe thunderstorm warning for Sheboygan and Fond du Lac counties also in effect till 1:30. Heat advisory still lingers for all of southeast Wisconsin till 9 o'clock tonight. Mostly cloudy skies, rain showers still scattered, some possible severe storms still this afternoon, a high today of 88 degrees. Overnight tonight, rain will linger, mostly cloudy overnight, a low 67. Tomorrow, sunny, a high of 80 degrees. Wednesday, sunny skies, 82. Thursday, sunny, 87. Friday, chances of some rain and possible storms, a high of 82 degrees. Right now in downtown Milwaukee, it is 79 degrees at 12:39.
Well, Mike, you and I are lucky because we're not allergic to any food. So when we go to the restaurants, it's just an easy, are you allergic to anything? No. And I think the waiters and waitresses are like, thank goodness, right?
Yes.
But here's the thing. There are a lot of people who are allergic. I know I've got a brother who is allergic to shellfish, one that's kind of deathly allergic, another one who we think has grown out of it, but you're just not sure, right? Mm-hmm. Well, a new survey finds many people are changing restaurant plans because they can't easily find allergen information before they go. The CEO of Nutritics, Stephen Nolan, joins us to explain why many diners don't trust the answers they get, what questions you should ask before ordering, and what restaurants can do to make eating out safer for everyone. Great to have you, Stephen.
Good afternoon, Jessica and Mike. Great to come along.
Can we start first just with how common food allergies are today? Are they becoming more prevalent, or are people just more aware of them?
I think it's a bit of both, to be honest. I think statistically we could say that one in 10 Americans would typically have, I suppose, a diagnosed food allergen, and that would be kind of medically diagnosed. But actually, the emerging and kind of significant minority now would also choose to lead, I suppose, an allergen-led lifestyle. And what I mean by that is, for example, choosing to eat gluten-free diet by choice rather than having an allergen, and so on. And actually, the variance is slightly estimated, but typically that would be 1 in 4 individuals. So it's quite a significant minority of the population that actually would either have a diagnosed allergen or actually choose to lead a particular dietary preference.
Yeah. Stephen, what are some of the steps that the restaurant industry, I don't know if it's in mass or if it's a case-by-case basis, but are there trends of steps that some restaurants are taking to make sure people feel comfortable and, frankly, survive through whatever meal they're going to be eating?
Yeah, there is, and it's actually a really interesting area at the moment, because if we look across the US, it's a real kind of mixed picture, I suppose. So if we look down south in California, we would see there that actually there's new regulations being introduced called the ADDI Act that obligates restaurant operators who own 20 or more locations to actually have that written information available to guests on the menu. So wherever you actually go and dine in California, that has to legally be available. And I think that is, I suppose, an emerging trend that would see more and more across different states. But that information is, I suppose, is mixed, and in some locations we would see maybe not that level of detail as well. So, but it certainly presents restaurant operators with a huge opportunity. As I said, it's 1 in 4 operators, and we can really see that, for example, in Europe, where that is a bit more prevalent, and it presents a huge opportunity from a loyalty perspective, where guests feel a much greater level of trust in the menu, and they understand. And going back to some of the research that we did, we found that actually 95% of allergy impacted diners have chosen ruled out a restaurant, I should say, on the basis of lack of allergen information. So it really does drive purchasing decisions, and it drives footfall to restaurants.
I was in Italy a few weeks ago, and I was struck by how detailed the allergen information was on restaurant menus. It wasn't just a separate allergy menu. It was built right there into the menu. One of the restaurants, I think it had to have at least 12 to 15 allergens on it. It was a whole page on the menu, and I had never seen anything like that before. Why does Europe seem so much further ahead than the United States?
I think so, yeah, and that would be very common across Europe, and in many European states it is actually regulated. I think it was a mix, I suppose, of push and pull. Maybe, for want of a better description, there was a regulatory push, but actually diners were also demanding it more and more, and they really valued the trust and the transparency that the menu offered. And I think what we saw was an initial maybe reluctance from restaurant operators to the potential cost that's involved in bringing it in. But actually, what soon became very apparent was that it drove quite a lot of footfall because more diners trusted the information that they saw on the menus, and they could really rely and have a safe experience within restaurants. And it is our expectation that that will continue to grow across the US.
Well, yeah, Stephen, that's what's really interesting about this, right? Is that oftentimes when new regulations are proposed, you'll have an industry that pushes back, citing staffing or citing the added cost to them. But as part of this research, if 71% of people say they'd eat at your restaurant more often if it had that easy to find allergen information, kind of seems like it's the market kind of deciding that this is the way that restaurants are going to be going, right?
Well, that's exactly it. And actually, if you take that a step further, and I'm sure you've both experienced scenarios where it only has to be one individual within the group that has a particular allergen, and they decide where you all go for your meals. So it's not only the 71%, but it's actually the broader group that it impacts. And if you think of, the average spend in terms of, just an average visit, and it can vary quite a lot, but if you kind of call it somewhere anywhere between kind of $75 to $100, and you multiply that by the amount of, I suppose, missed visits or people sitting at home, this is a multi-billion opportunity for the US restaurant industry.
Are there any red flags that tell you a restaurant may not be prepared to safely accommodate people with allergies? Or there are certain questions that every diner with a food allergy should be asking before they go into a restaurant they haven't been in and don't know that much about it before ordering?
Yeah, I think there's a few kind of common areas that we'd encourage diners to kind of have an awareness about. I suppose the first is, and there's probably four that I would say. The first is that the allergens are clearly marked on the actual recipe items rather than just a kind of general statement like our kitchen handles nuts. Having that dish level detail is really important. I think the consistency across the different menus, like you can view one restaurant's menus across lots of different platforms, from delivery apps through to the printed menu, through to the website and so on, and actually seeing it visible across a few different places is really important. I think also alongside that, having the team members and staff that can really explain the restaurant processes and kind of give confidence that not only are they aware of the allergens, but actually how the restaurant itself contains the allergens. And then finally, also that the restaurant is visibly seen to update the information. So, for example, if you think of seasonal specials and so on, that should also contain allergen information, because the reality of supply chains is that they constantly change, they constantly evolve. So it can't be a once-off exercise. There has to be visibility on the menu in terms of actually that information being kept up to date.
That is the CEO of Nutritics, Stephen Nolan. Thanks so much for joining us. A lot of important information.
Thank you.
It's 12:47. Looks like the National Weather Service has just issued a tornado warning for Fond du Lac, beginning at happening now, and ending at 1:44 this afternoon. Let's get more information.
The National Weather Service in Milwaukee-Sullivan has issued a tornado warning for eastern Fond du Lac County and east central Wisconsin until 1:30 p.m. At 12:44 p.m., a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over southern Lake Winnebago, or 7 miles northeast of North Fond du Lac, moving south at 30 miles an hour. Hazard: tornado and tennis ball size hail. Source: radar indicated rotation. Impact: flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. This dangerous storm will be near Fond du Lac, North Fond du Lac, and southern Lake Winnebago around 12:50 p.m. Campbellsport around 1:05 p.m. Other locations impacted by this tornadic thunderstorm include Byron, Peebles, Mount Calvary, Eden, Geneva, Ashford, Pipe, Waukesta, Taycheedah, and Calvary. Take cover now. Move to a basement or an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. Avoid windows. If you are outdoors, in a mobile home, or in a vehicle, move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris.
$998 buys you a magnificent diamond solitaire engagement ring at Kessler's.
A solid gold mounting shows off a big, beautiful diamond, 3/4 of a carat.
Glitter, twinkle, sparkle.
This is the definitive diamond solitaire engagement ring.
You can choose a round diamond, radiant, marquise, or oval.
3/4 of a carat. Any shape you want.
Any color of gold you want.
A 1-carat solitaire is just $1,498.
Ask to see the Evermore engagement rings at Kessler's.
You're going to be ecstatic about the color, clarity, and cut of your diamond.
Evermore.
Each of these diamonds was lovingly created in the heart of a miniature star.
Your diamond will remain.
Evermore.
Your diamond was born about the time you fell in love.
You will be in love.
Evermore.
Your diamond has been waiting patiently for you to see it, love it, and choose it.
Don't keep it waiting. Come to Kessler's.
To find the Kessler's nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
We're on top of breaking news right now. The National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning for eastern Fond du Lac County and east central Wisconsin. We want to bring in immediately WTMJ meteorologist Craig Copleen. Thanks for joining us, Craig. What are you seeing right now?
Yeah, hi, Jessica. When the tornado warning was issued a short time ago, it was due to a severe thunderstorm over southern Lake Winnebago, just about 7 miles northeast of Fond du Lac. Not only does it have the capability of producing a tornado, but also tennis ball size hail, tremendously large hail with a lot of the storms that have come through eastern Wisconsin already this morning. But first and foremost, we see on radar a pretty strong tornado signature right now in eastern Fond du Lac County. It is northeast of the city of Fond du Lac right now, dropping to the southeast in particular. In addition to approaching the city of Fond du Lac, it's also approaching Taycheedah, eventually Mount Calvary, Eden, and perhaps Campbellsport. Those are other communities that are in the warning area. Dundee, Byron, Pipe, Waucosta, some other communities there in Fond du Lac County that are now under a tornado warning for folks who are in or near those communities. It's time to take shelter in your safe place, as this storm has a history of producing not only tornado strength winds to cause damage, but straight line thunderstorm winds that have caused some damage when it went through the Fox Valley area a short time ago around Neenah south to Appleton. This storm is no joke, and it is pounding its way through Fond du Lac right now.
Yeah, Craig, I'm so glad you mentioned the straight line winds, the potential for heavy rainfall, and also that hail. You know, it's a great reminder to people that even if you're watching the news or you're listening to us and there are no tornadoes, on the ground or things that have been identified for sure, there is still life-threatening weather going on, just, even if it's not a tornado specifically.
And we do concentrate on tornadoes for obvious reasons. Those can produce the strongest winds and the most significant damage when tornadoes of noteworthy size do come through a particular area. But there are circumstances where strong thunderstorm winds without a tornado can be just as strong as winds that are associated with low-end tornadoes. Not to mention torrential rainfall can lead to dangerous flooding. We've got thunderstorms with tremendous amounts of lightning here. We've had, of course, this line of storms that went through the Milwaukee area and continues to go through Kenosha in particular through the late morning now into the early afternoon. And these storms that are now entering the northern part of the listening area are just as strong, if not stronger. So we're going to be into a serious situation where everybody wants to really be weather aware and keep themselves and their families and friends safe here for several more hours.
We're talking with WTMJ meteorologist Craig Copleen as the National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning for eastern Fond du Lac County until 1:30 this afternoon. Craig, you mentioned that you could see a tornado signature. Can you detail and explain for our fans what exactly that means?
Sure. Well, a couple things. Well, on Doppler radar, which we have access to, that can show us the direction that raindrops are moving. So if they happen to be spinning, Doppler radar can show us that raindrops are being moved in a circular fashion, and from that we can interpret that a rotating thunderstorm is ongoing. A rotating thunderstorm is a precursor to a funnel cloud and then a tornado touchdown in some cases. Not always. We don't always get a tornado from thunderstorms that are rotating. Most thunderstorms rotate to some extent anyway, but when they rotate in a very compact fashion, that's when you can get tornado touchdowns. And so the beauty of Doppler radar is that it can give us advance notice to a potential developing tornado and a potential tornado touchdown, which allows us to give all of our listeners advance notice to get to a place of safety before the tornado has actually touched down. In those cases, one might only have minutes to get to a place of safety. When we're able to look into a thunderstorm and see a tornado developing, we're able to get folks 10, 20, maybe even 30 minutes advance notice that potentially dangerous weather is on the way. And so you have more time to get to your place of safety.
Hey, Craig, just looking at the radar now, looking at the movement of this storm, it is just southeast. It looks like most of it of about Fond du Lac or so. Looking at where or I guess anticipating where this is going to be going, looking ahead a little bit, who should be expecting some of this in the next 20, 30 minutes?
Yeah, next up, if the storm maintains its current strength and drops through Fond du Lac County, it will then emerge into southwestern Sheboygan County and northern Washington County. So to be real specific, in Sheboygan County, it would be near or west of Cascade and Random Lake. And in northern Washington County, it would first impact areas around Kewaskum and Wayne, and eventually West Bend and Newburgh. We'll have to wait and see whether the storm maintains its current strength, maintains its current tornado-like signature on the radar. We'll see if folks, emergency management folks, police officers and whatnot actually see a tornado or funnel clouds with the storm as it moves through Fond du Lac County. If it does, then we could very easily see the tornado warning extended to the south and east into those communities that I mentioned before. The National Weather Service is just reminding us or just telling us that they have increased the expected winds with this particular thunderstorm to as high as 80 miles per hour. Winds may be as high as 80 miles per hour with the severe thunderstorm that's moving through eastern Fond du Lac County. It's right now between about Fond du Lac and Mount Calvary. It's moving toward Eden. It eventually will get to Campbellsport. If you're in that area, expect winds as high as 80 miles per hour. And that's exactly what I mentioned before, Jessica and Mike. Those are winds that are sort of a low-end tornado strength winds. So this is a real serious situation, tornado or not, in Fond du Lac County.
Well, and isn't that the truth? Because we have seen that very recently here this summer in Wisconsin, those straight line winds that can do just as much damage as a low grade tornado, without a doubt. If you are just turning the radio on right now, you're just popping on our live stream on social media or YouTube, the National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning for eastern Fond du Lac County. That's until 1:30 today. We're talking with meteorologist Craig Copleen. Craig, what are you seeing that is the most concerning right now, and who at this time should be seeking cover?
Yeah, if you're in the city of Fond du Lac, eastward to Mount Calvary, south to Eden and Campbellsport, if you're in those particular communities or any nearby communities, you want to get to your basement or wherever you go in a tornado situation. If you don't have a basement, you want to be in an interior room or hallway in your house, away from windows. Oftentimes that's a closet or maybe an interior bathroom in your home or business. the strategy here is to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. The most danger, of course, from a tornado or straight line thunderstorm winds is debris flying around at 80 miles per hour outside. And that, of course, can crash through windows. In some cases, it might be even able to crash through one particular wall in a home. It probably can't get through two walls. So that's why we say put as many walls between you and the outdoors as possible. And again, that's for folks in Fond du Lac. That's for folks in Mount Calvary, Eden, and Campbellsport. There is also some very large hail with this storm. In addition to the damaging winds, we're talking damaging size hail, as much as big as tennis balls. Another reason you want to be away from windows too. You very much want to stand at the window and watch hail that size, or in some cases of any size, fall. It can be fascinating to look at. But if you get the wrong wind direction at just the wrong time, that might angle hailstones that size at your windows. You could be looking at your windows breaking and yourself being in real danger.
You listen to WTMJ Radio. Again, just to recap, the National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning until 1:30 p.m. for Fond du Lac County. The storm making its way through eastern Fond du Lac County as we speak. Mike Spalding, Jessica Ty here with meteorologist Craig Copleen. Craig, the other thing going on with this storm is there is a lot of rain, and rain is not something we've seen seemingly since June. In addition to the storms, we're also seeing flash flood warnings south of Milwaukee. Is it just because it's so dry and that rain's coming down so hard and so fast?
Well, that's part of it. Undoubtedly, most of the ground is rock hard as we've been so dry and baked by the big time heat that we had last week. It makes it repels the water a little bit. It doesn't soak in as much or as nicely as a nice gentle rain would. But nevertheless, we have seen rainfall rates such that we'd be getting some flooding anyway, especially in Kenosha County, parts of Racine County where a flash flood warning is in effect. And now we're seeing rainfall at that rate with these storms moving into the northern part of the listening area as well. In particular, to be specific, in Fond du Lac. So Fond du Lac County is dealing with it all right now. Potential tornado, if not tornado, straight line thunderstorm winds up to 80 miles per hour, and the torrential rainfall and large hail. Now, we've just had a new severe thunderstorm warning issued. That is going to be for parts of Dodge, Washington, and Ozaukee counties. That is due to the potential for straight line thunderstorm winds and the possible tornadoes with this thunderstorm as it continues to work its way south out of Fond du Lac County. It'll be moving into the counties I just mentioned. I mentioned some of the communities that I was most concerned about just a few moments ago, and that's what the National Weather Service is now warning for, with a severe thunderstorm warning for Ozaukee, Washington, and Dodge counties until 2:30. While this is not a tornado warning, tornadoes are possible with this storm. And even if a tornado does not occur with this storm as it gets into those counties, wind gusts of up to 80 miles per hour are going to remain possible, along with hail as large as 2.5 inches in diameter. So again, even if we don't get a tornado, an extension of the Fond du Lac County tornado south into the counties of Dodge, Washington, and Ozaukee counties, this is going to remain a dangerous situation for folks in those communities just by way of the straight line thunderstorm winds and the hail.
As you've been walking us through this, Craig, I pulled up some of the DOT cameras on my computer here just to take a peek, and I've been looking at for the last few minutes here, 41 at 151. And about 5 minutes ago, it was really eerie looking, and you could just see the shelf cloud, and now it looks like the rain is coming down so hard. I'm concerned for these people who are still on the road. It looks like there aren't as many as about 7 minutes ago, so hopefully people are heeding the warning. But the bottom line is we do have people on the road right now as this storm is coming down, and we have a tornado warning in Fond du Lac County until 1:30. What are you seeing? Can you walk us through? We've been talking for about at least 20 minutes here now. What is the very latest that people need to be concerned about and where people need to take shelter?
Yeah, well, let's start with where things have calmed down, and that is pretty much everywhere other than Fond du Lac and Sheboygan counties. We've got this line of storms that went through much of the area earlier on today during the late morning hours, all out over Lake Michigan now. So everyone, with the exception of Fond du Lac and Sheboygan counties, is in a bit of a lull right now and can take a breath. But if you are in Fond du Lac or Sheboygan counties, driving south from the Fox Valley into those counties, or driving north from the Milwaukee area, you're going to run into a very serious weather situation where a tornado is possible. 80-mile-an-hour thunderstorm winds are possible. Torrential rain that is no doubt leading to at least minor flooding in low-lying areas of the highways and interstates that go through those counties, and in some cases possibly major flooding, and also large hail the size that could take your windshield out. And the lightning. So it's really the whole gamut of dangerous thunderstorm scenarios going on, especially in Fond du Lac County right now, to a lesser extent in Sheboygan County, but it's the city of Fond du Lac, from around the city of Fond du Lac now to the southeast, that we're really focusing our attention now. So Eden, Byron, Campbellsport, the storm is approaching you as we speak. And then Kewaskum, West Bend, Hartford in particular, you're next with all of the above. As I just mentioned, the torrential rain, the hail, the potential for tornadoes, the damaging winds. The National Weather Service that has issued that severe thunderstorm warning that I just mentioned, the newly issued severe thunderstorm warnings for the entire counties of those three counties. So all of Dodge County, all of Ozaukee, and all of Washington County now are under this severe thunderstorm warning. And that's an indication of they're not going to mess around with trying to pinpoint any particular area that's going to get hit harder than another. This is a large thunderstorm complex that is going to hit most of each of those counties in the short term. And odds are they're going to hold together, these storms are, and then eventually get to Milwaukee and Waukesha and Jefferson County. So we're far from done in and around greater Milwaukee, as these storms now that are pounding the Fond du Lac area are coming in our direction, and it'll be here within an hour or two for the city of Milwaukee's round 2 of today's severe weather.
Craig, does it tell you anything about how quickly the storm is moving like south on the map? The fact that it's in Fond du Lac County, it's getting near the lake, and it's just going to kind of head south. Does that say anything about severity or likelihood of a tornado or anything like that, or just something that I'm noticing on the map?
No, you're noticing exactly what we'd expect in this situation, and that is the storms are moving almost due south now because they are steering themselves, or they are moving into the area of highest instability. By instability, we mean the area that is warmest, humidest, or most humid, and the area that has the wind speeds and direction in just the right fashion to feed the thunderstorms. And so the storms are essentially, the storms had been moving to the southeast earlier on when they were up near Green Bay and Neenah and De Pere. Now they're moving straight south into the area where the atmosphere is most conducive to help them maintain their strength. Here's a new tornado warning now, just issued by the National Weather Service. The National Weather Service has issued a new tornado warning for western Fond du Lac County and northern Dodge County until 1:45. So now this is west of the area that was under the previous warning, or that is already under a warning in Fond du Lac County. So now it's all of Fond du Lac County is under a tornado warning. The western new warning that extends down into northern Dodge County runs until 1:45. The most dangerous part of the storm right now is near Rosendale and Ripon, moving to the south at about 30 miles per hour. In addition to Rosendale and Ripon, Brandon, Waupun, and Oakfield will be threatened by this potential tornado. Weather spotters in the area have reported a funnel cloud there, and that's what's led the National Weather Service to issue this tornado warning. It also includes in areas in northern Dodge County, including Beaver Dam. If you're in and around any of those areas, also the Horicon Marsh area, go to your basement or an interior room or hallway and get yourself to a safe place. A funnel cloud has been sighted.
So as we recamp here, the National Weather Service has now extended ultimately the tornado warning and then added a county to it. So the tornado warning is for all of Fond du Lac County at this point and also Dodge County, and it goes until 1:45 p.m. Can you talk about the distinction between, that's an important distinction that you just mentioned, that the weather spotters seeing a funnel cloud, that's different than just having something indicated on radar. It's important.
Yeah, it's confirmation of what's often seen on radar. There's nothing more important or nothing more valuable in tracking severe weather than to have eyes on the ground or people on the ground with their eyes to the sky and seeing a funnel cloud, or a precursor to a funnel cloud, which is known as a shelf cloud, or seeing a tornado on the ground. There's nothing more important than that, and that will trigger the National Weather Service to issue a tornado warning immediately. Doppler radar allows us to look into a thunderstorm and help us to see what may be a developing tornado before it's even visible from folks on the ground. So that's the beauty of Doppler radar. It gives even more advanced notice to help keep folks safe. But yeah, when you've got folks, whether it's formally trained storm spotters, fire or police officials, emergency management officials in any particular county, when you can get folks to see and spot a funnel cloud or a tornado on the ground, that is often confirmation, and that's a no doubt tornado warning issuance by the NWS.
Meteorologist Craig Copleen joins us here on Wisconsin's Midday News as we continue following storm coverage. A tornado warning has been issued for Fond du Lac and Dodge counties that will remain in effect until 1:45 today. We're going to go to EAS in just 1 second, but we have been getting people texting in, listeners, about us going silent if you're listening on the app when we hit an EAS, confirming that is what happens. Do not turn off your app if you're listening to us there. You just will not get the EAS, but we will be back on the other side of that in about 90 seconds or so with more on this severe weather. Mike Spalding, Jessica Ty, and meteorologist Craig Copleen here on WTMJ.
The National Weather Service in Milwaukee-Sullivan has issued a tornado warning for western Fond du Lac County and east central Wisconsin, northern Dodge County and southeastern Wisconsin until 1:45 p.m. At 1:06 p.m., a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Rosendale or near Ripon, moving south at 30 miles an hour. Hazard: tornado and tennis ball size hail. Source: weather spotters reported funnel cloud. Impact: flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. This dangerous storm will be near Rosendale and Brandon around 1:10 p.m. Waupun and Oakfield around 1:15 p.m. Other locations impacted by this tornadic thunderstorm include Kokoski, Eldorado, Atwater, Oak Center, Brownsville, Burnett, Fairwater, Laguna, Knowles, and South Beaver Dam. Other landmarks included are the following location: Horicon Marsh. Take cover now. Move to a basement or an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. Avoid windows. If you are outdoors, in a mobile home, or in a vehicle, move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris.
We're on top of breaking news here in Wisconsin's Midday News. The National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning now for western Fond du Lac County and northern Dodge County in southeastern Wisconsin. This goes until 1:45 this afternoon. We want to bring back in WTMJ meteorologist Craig Copleen. Craig, there has been a funnel cloud spotted, so can you just recap for everybody where the danger currently is and where the storm is headed next as well, because everybody needs to prepare here.
Sure. There are two particular areas in Fond du Lac County that I'm particularly concerned about right now. The first is southeast Fond du Lac County, southeast of the city of Fond du Lac, from Eden down to Campbellsport. Tremendously strong winds are on their way into Campbellsport and Ashford, either side of east and west along Highway 67 there through Fond du Lac County. Tremendously strong winds are on their way. We haven't had any reports of new funnel cloud reports with that portion of the thunderstorm recently. Nevertheless, wind gusts from the thunderstorm alone could reach as much as 80 miles per hour as they approach Campbellsport over the next few minutes, within the next 5 to 10 minutes. And then that storm will push into Washington County, and it'll affect initially places like Kewaskum and Wayne. Meanwhile, to the northwest, there's also a tornado warning or an area of great concern around Rosendale. From Rosendale now to the near and just to the south of Rosendale, headed toward eventually Oakfield, between Oakfield and Brandon in western Kenosha, Fond du Lac counties there. Let's say along Highway 26, south of Rosendale. That's where the biggest danger is right now. A tornado warning is in effect for that area. If you go south on 26, you run into 151. They're just near Waupun. That whole area is the direction in which the thunderstorm from which a funnel cloud was reported just a short time ago. That whole area is in danger of a tornado touchdown. And if you're in and around that area, you want to get to your place of safety, get to as safe a place as you can very quickly. That storm is moving almost due south. So I mentioned Waupun already, and then just a little south of there, of course, is Horicon and eventually Mayville. Those are the communities that will get hit next with this particular storm that right now, anyway, is very close to Rosendale.
Craig, we talked earlier about the initial tornado warning that was issued at this point about 45 minutes ago. You talked at length about the straight line winds, the heavy rain, and some of the hail. Is that what we're seeing on the back end of this new one that got extended then to include Dodge County through about 1:45?
Nope, these are two separate areas of the same thunderstorm complex that are producing this dangerous weather. So the tornado warnings are distinct. They combine to lead to all of Fond du Lac County being under a tornado warning. But the eastern part of the county and the one that's affecting Eden down to Campbellsport, that tornado warning runs just until 1:30. Then west of there, or maybe more specifically northwest of there, around Rosendale, that's a separate tornado warning that was issued for that area. That runs until, let's see, is it 1:45 or 1:50? That's a separate part of really the same thunderstorm complex. To say that they're different thunderstorms would be unnecessarily splitting hairs, but they are two distinct areas of particularly high danger in between where the city of Fond du Lac is. To be sure, they're getting a tremendously strong thunderstorm there as well in the city of Fond du Lac with large hail, damaging thunderstorm winds, lightning, and flooding rains also.
If you are listening right now and you are in your safe spot and you can text and let us know what's going on, please feel free to do so. You can text us observations. Make sure you're in your safe zone to the Saudi Unlimited WTMJ talk and text line. That's 855-616-1620. Tim from Delavan did write us a little bit earlier and said, I was driving north on I-43 in Walworth County shortly before the Walworth County tornado warning. Near the rest areas before East Troy, there was a definite lowering of the cloud base. and a low turbulence in the clouds. And Tim went on to say, I can't say that I saw definite rotation because he said he was driving in very, very heavy rain. He couldn't really focus on the clouds, but he said at the time there was a car that had run off into the median just prior to the northbound rest area. And just south of Racine Avenue, there was a dump truck that had gone off southbound I-43. And as soon as we came on with Wisconsin's Midday News, the roads were a mess. There was crash after crash. As you are taking a peek at all the spotter reports, what are you hearing? What are you seeing from the weather spotters who play a very important role in delivering the information that we need when there's a tornado warning?
Yeah, that note that you just read, Jessica, from down in Walworth County, that makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense that he would have seen a wall cloud, which is often a precursor to a funnel cloud and then a tornado. I believe I referred to it earlier as a shelf cloud, and a shelf cloud is a whole different thing. So excuse me for misspeaking. So I wouldn't doubt that if anyone was driving through Walworth County earlier on this morning, that they may have seen a wall cloud. No indication that a tornado emerged from there and touched down, although there'll be more time to look into that further as we get into tomorrow. That's exactly what we'd expect to see given the situation that I saw on radar. And so kind of what we were alluding to before, all of these things sort of work in concert. There's nothing better than having people to actually view and witness tornadoes or precursors to tornadoes. And then the National Weather Service and the rest of us, like myself as meteorologists, then use that information to inform what we're seeing on radar, which is the ability to see whether a thunderstorm is rotating or not. Just the fact that a storm is rotating doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to produce a tornado, only that it's on its way to possibly producing a tornado. And very oftentimes the National Weather Service will issue a tornado warning simply based on this radar indication in an effort to give folks just as much time as possible to get to a safe place should a tornado touch down. The latest information from our friends at the National Weather Service is that they do not expect to extend the tornado warning out of eastern Fond du Lac County into Washington County. Nevertheless, there is a clear sign on radar that there are damaging thunderstorm winds there. So this may very well be a situation that there isn't and won't be a tornado, although that's not off the table either. But at least in the short term, as this storm moves from southeastern Fond du Lac County into Washington County, into Kewaskum, and then West Bend, and maybe Allenton and Newburgh, that even without a tornado, there may be notable significant damage with wind gusts as high as 80 miles per hour. That's going on its way into northern Washington County. For western Fond du Lac County and northern Dodge County, we're still seeing some indication of a rotating thunderstorm there, although quite frankly, not as strong of an indication, not as much of a radar signature that I would that aligns with a tornado being present as we had just a short time ago. Although storms like this and their tornadic characteristics sometimes cycle up and down, and they can look tornadic for a while and maybe even cause a tornado and then not look tornadic, and maybe the tornado dissipates and then it can surge back up again and we see a tornado redevelop. We see this in circumstances like we have right now, where the atmosphere is tremendously primed to maintain the strength of storms and not have them just pulse up in intensity one time and then fizzle out and fade away. We have the kind of atmosphere right now where we're going to continue to see these storms pulse up because there is a lot of moisture and a lot of other characteristics present in the atmosphere that are going to cause these storms to continue to generate and regenerate through at least the mid part of this afternoon.
Hey, Craig, I'm looking at the radar, watching it. It looks like Grafton is just about to get some rain if they're not already getting some. People south of there, Menominee Falls area, can you give a quick kind of a timeline as far as when we can start to see some of this maybe coming through even northern Milwaukee County?
Yeah, we're probably looking at maybe an hour or so. I would say by maybe 2:30, or perhaps just a little bit before. The storms that we're talking about in Fond du Lac County start encroaching on greater Milwaukee. So the city of Milwaukee, Milwaukee County, out Waukesha County as well. So maybe an hour or so. And in the interim, during the next hour is when the storms will be making their trek through, especially Washington County. I'm particularly concerned about Washington County in the short term, but Dodge County and Ozaukee County as well will experience these very strong thunderstorms as they come through over the next hour or so. And then once we start to approach the 2:30 area, then it's going to be the city of Milwaukee, west down I-94 or Capitol Drive into Brookfield and Pewaukee and Waukesha and so on. There is, to this point, not much indication that these storms are going to weaken before they get to the city of Milwaukee. Might they? Sure. Is it likely? Probably not.
So we're talking about the big hazard here being a possible tornado, but there are other hazards as well. What are we dealing with when we talk about hail? And then also, forget a tornado. It can also be these straight line winds that just do a lot of damage. And we have seen that recently here in southeastern Wisconsin.
Yeah, in the latest warning, severe thunderstorm warning, and for that matter, the tornado warnings that are in effect, the National Weather Service has noted wind gusts, that the areas that get hit with the strongest part of these storms could have wind gusts up to 80 miles per hour. That's like a low-end tornado. So that's the kind of wind that can do damage around your neighborhood. It can do damage to your home and so forth. So we're going to have winds. We're having winds with these storms, even without a tornado touchdown, that are dangerous. Speaking of danger, large hail. We've had numerous reports of tennis ball size hail out of Fond du Lac County. Earlier on, we had numerous reports of tennis ball size hail around the Kenosha area and Kenosha County too. So though that's also dangerous, especially if you're driving through it. That's the kind of hail size that could smash your windshield, at the very least crack it and maybe put a hole right through your windshield. So that's a very serious situation as well. Also, the torrential rain. Right now, as I look on the radar, it looks like the heaviest rain is falling from around Campbellsport over to Oakfield and up toward Rosendale. It's still falling pretty heavily in the city of Fond du Lac too, but there's tremendous amounts of rain falling. So folks on the roads are likely going to be driving through high water. If you see it, let me strongly encourage you not to do that. Very high water in areas that are particularly flood prone or low-lying areas can just be so terribly dangerous. And not to mention, there are just copious amounts of lightning with these storms, as you'd expect to. So we've got really every ingredient that you can think of that would be dangerous in thunderstorms are right now in progress. In Fond du Lac County, especially, to some extent in Sheboygan County, although it looks like the strongest stuff has now moved south of Sheboygan and is now entering Dodge, Washington, and Ozaukee counties as the storms continue to push south and accelerate. Kewaskum, I'm particularly concerned right now with the winds that have likely kicked up over the last 5 or 10 minutes at Kewaskum. There are likely winds there of the 70 to 80 mile an hour range. And West Bend, here's your fair warning. These are moving right in your direction. So if you're in and around West Bend, expect damaging thunderstorm winds to move in within the next 15 minutes, West Bend.
You know, one of those tornado warnings is set to expire here at 1:30, but Craig, it does not sound like we are out of the weeds either in the immediate future as one of these tornado warnings remains, mainly for Dodge County.
That's right.
Until 1:45.
Yeah, the tornado warning that covers western Dodge County and northern Western Fond du Lac County and northern Dodge County. That's going to remain in effect until 1:45. As I look at the radar, there is still some indication of broad rotation within the thunderstorm. So the tornado threat remains. In particular, some of the communities right now that I am most concerned with are Waupun, and then eventually Burnett, maybe Fox Lake in far northwest Dodge County, Kikoski, and eventually Horicon. All those communities are under a tornado warning, and the tornadic looking part of the storm is approaching and will be approaching those and other nearby communities. I should mention Mayville as well as another community under the tornado warning as this storm moves to the south. And again, I can't repeat it enough. These storms, even outside of there being a tornado, are going to continue to have the capability of producing 80-mile-an-hour winds. So that's a wind speed that can cause damage to a home, to your business, to your car. So this is going to be a very dangerous situation, even if we don't see another tornado warning or even get a tornado touchdown out of this scenario. This is one of those, we get a handful of these every summer where you get severe thunderstorm warning and they are producing winds on the winds along the line of low-end tornadoes. Now, we get a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings that are marginal too, when the winds are only going to be 50 to 60 miles an hour, and those can cause some damage as well. Don't get me wrong, but they're not what an 80-mile-an-hour wind gust is. So it really pays to be very specific when we're talking about severe thunderstorm warnings. Is it a marginal low-end severe thunderstorm warning, or is it a particularly dangerous high-end severe thunderstorm warning? And it's the high-end severe thunderstorm warnings that we're dealing with this afternoon.
If you are just turning the radio on right now, you're jumping on to our YouTube stream or on social media, we want to recap for you as we are just about to hit 1:30 on Monday afternoon. A tornado warning for Fond du Lac County and Dodge County. It goes until 1:45. We're talking with WTMJ meteorologist Craig Copleen. Craig, for those just joining us now, let's recap here. What has been seen? What hasn't? Who needs to take cover now? And who should be thinking about doing so soon?
Yep, the tornado warning in western Fond du Lac and northern Dodge County runs until 1:45, and that was issued because of a report of a funnel cloud near Rosendale about maybe a half an hour ago or so. That the part of that thunderstorm that was producing the funnel cloud has now pushed to the south into southwestern or southern Fond du Lac County around Oakfield. The signature on radar doesn't look as defined as as what you'd consider a textbook tornado signature, as much as it did a half an hour ago. So that's good news. It doesn't mean that the storm isn't going through what is a typical sort of cycling period where it can look very tornadic and then less tornadic and then more tornadic once again. So we could be in one of these sort of one of these down falls in terms of the storm strength. As it continues to move to the south, it will eventually impact northern Dodge County. To this point, it's been mostly only around Brownsville and Lomira that the storm has really started to impact. But before too long, it will impact Mayville, Horicon, Burnett, and maybe even Beaver Dam. And we'll see whether the National Weather Service extends the tornado warning past 1:45. Don't want to get too far ahead of myself. You still got a little less than 15 minutes on the tornado warning. So we'll see what characteristics it's showing, and we'll see if anyone on the ground there, Dodge County or Fond du Lac County officials, whether they're able to put eyes on a funnel cloud any longer. If they are, the tornado warning gets extended more than likely, both in time and in aerial coverage. If they don't, maybe the tornado warning gets dropped. Even if it does, these are still thunderstorms that are going to be producing dangerous, damaging thunderstorm winds for at least some additional amount of time through this afternoon, maybe an hour, maybe a couple more hours. as the storms continue to drop south into an area that is still pretty primed to support severe thunderstorms. You know, we had the storms come through this morning across southeast Wisconsin, and to some extent, they took a little bit of the juice out of the atmosphere. Typically, when you get an area of storms coming through, usually it's sort of a one and done in that the air gets cooled, it's not as unstable anymore, and you don't see additional severe storms behind an initial line of severe storms. That's not so much the case this afternoon. I would say that the greater Milwaukee area is less unstable than it was before this morning's storms hit, but it looks as though it's unstable enough to maintain these thunderstorms at a pretty high level for the next couple of hours. It's going to be something that we're going to be on top of and going to have to monitor closely all through the afternoon.
WTMJ meteorologist Craig Copeland joining us here in Wisconsin's Midday News as we continue to monitor the severe weather, this tornado warning through 1:45 for Dodge and Fond du Lac counties. Craig, I liked how you were kind of looking ahead a little bit and talking about what we could be in for later this afternoon or this evening. You know, earlier today we were talking about the storms almost in three parts. You know, you had the morning and then the mid-morning and the afternoon, evening. Are the afternoon, evening, late morning, early afternoon starting to kind of blend together? And I guess without having you pontificate too much, are we anticipating more of the same this evening? Because I do see there is still a chance of rain tonight.
Yeah, there is. And so what I expected really was this afternoon storms to be associated with a cold front that timing-wise, I didn't really expect that would come through until mid to late afternoon, maybe even early evening. And that was when I expected our highest threat of thunderstorms to be. The early morning storms that we had, I guess I should call them mid-morning storms, were somewhat surprising. Now this batch of storms that initiated up in the Fox Valley and is moving into the northern part of the listening area, it's going to be interesting to see whether this is sort of a second round of storms and then we get yet a third round with the cold front passing late in the day today, or if this second round of storms really does work over the atmosphere enough that even with another cold front or with a cold front coming through late in the day, there's just not going to be enough juice, moisture, the right wind profile to support yet a third round of storms. I think that's an open question and something that's going to be interesting to watch as the day continues to evolve.
I was just taking a peek at some of the traffic cameras in the Fond du Lac County area, also Winnebago area. It looks like we have new crashes up there, and a lot of the cameras are out. The outage maps, I'm taking a peek at We Energies right now. They have more than 70,000 customers without power. Those numbers have been fluctuating here over the last 45 minutes or so. Craig, should we also be concerned about flooding? And that's an interesting question right now because we haven't seen a lot of rain. We've needed some rain, but oftentimes when the ground is so dry, then when you have a lot of rain come down, that can cause an issue. And then I'm also thinking about, do we need to worry about any flash flooding?
Yeah, well, we have the flash flood warning still in effect for parts of Racine and Kenosha counties, especially the central and western parts of those counties that some places received upwards of 3 inches of rain with this morning storms within just an hour or two. So that's the only area that's under a flash flood warning right now. No warnings for flooding have been issued for the storms that we've been watching over the last hour or so in Fond du Lac County, although we'll see as the rain that's already down continues to run off into its typical areas of runoff, the rivers and streams, and for that matter, the urban drainage areas. We'll see how well they continue to hold up in terms of dispersing the water. But to this point, apparently the National Weather Service hasn't gotten any indication that there's been any notable issues with flooding in and around Fond du Lac. I'm certain that there must be some high standing water in some more flood prone areas, but nothing terribly widespread to this point. I will say that if anything, the storms that have been moving through Fond du Lac County have maybe slowed a bit. And that could be another reason why we eventually do get some more notable flooding, not only in Fond du Lac County, but in Dodge and Washington counties. So we'll see how that plays out as the afternoon goes on. It is interesting when you go through such a long stretch of last week, the ground just baked. It was so hot and we had no rain and the ground got hard and so forth. Yeah, to some extent, the rain is going to just splatter on the ground and not soak in as nicely as we'd like it to, and maybe lead to a little more flooding than we might otherwise have. But we really have had thunderstorms this morning and now this afternoon that have been producing rainfall rates at which it really wouldn't have mattered whether the ground was real dry or real wet. That flooding would at least be scattered around the area, if not somewhat widespread like it is down in Racine and Kenosha counties.
Now, Craig, can you quickly kind of recap what you're seeing on the radar, where the meat of the storm is right now, and perhaps who could be in the next path of it in the next 20 or so minutes?
Yeah, the area of the storm that caused the tornado warning to be issued for western Fond du Lac and northern Dodge County, the area of most concern of that storm is now making its way across the Fond du Lac Dodge County line. So it's moving out of Fond du Lac County into Dodge County and is approaching communities such as Brownsville and Waupun. If you're in and around Brownsville or Waupun or any other nearby communities, just a little south of there's Kikoski and Burnett and Mayville. If you're in or near those communities or know anybody who's in or near those communities, let them know that the most dangerous part of that storm, the storm that has led a tornado warning to be issued for those communities, is upon them, is imminent, and they should be somewhere safe. Meanwhile, very strong winds are pushing into and through northern Washington County. They're now into the West Bend area. Seems like just a few minutes ago, I was saying West Bend, fair warning, these powerful winds are headed your way. They're now there. The leading edge of the powerful winds in Washington County run from around Newburgh over to West Bend and then Allenton. And eventually, next up would be Slinger and Jackson and over into Ozaukee County, Grafton, and Cedarburg. If the storms hold together at their current strength, those communities will all see potentially damaging thunderstorm winds, I'd say around 2 o'clock or so. So you're maybe 20 minutes away in Cedarburg, Grafton, Jackson, Hartford, and Slinger.
I'm also concerned up in the Menasha area as I continue to look at DOT, and I just noticed these new crashes that popped up in the midst of the storm, and you have areas that are just completely shut down right now. And as I take a peek at cameras are out. So oftentimes that can be just due to the winds. The cameras go out. Sometimes DOT will actually shut down the feed because they don't want you to see exactly what's going on there. But the bottom line is we do have quite a few crashes now in Calumet County and Winnebago County as well in the Menasha area where we are seeing some reports of damage. As far as our area here, Craig, as we are now approaching, we are just minutes away from the tornado warning possibly extending. Do you have any information that might lead you to believe that this could be extended, or do we think we're going to hit 145 and boom, these tornado warnings will cease?
Well, I don't have any information that leads me to believe it's going to be extended. So right now, I think it would be a reasonable bet to say that it's probably going to be allowed to expire, simply because I haven't seen any chatter from the National Weather Service or from any local law enforcement that any funnel clouds or tornadoes have been cited for quite some time, for at least a half an hour when the funnel cloud was initially seen near Rosendale, northwest of Fond du Lac. So I have... Well, it's an educated guess, but I think coming up here at 1:45, I think we see the tornado warning
allowed to expire. Nevertheless, the severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for Ozaukee, Washington, and Dodge counties. And even outside of a tornado, there will likely be some wind gusts in parts of those counties that may lead to some damage. One particular piece of good news here is that the flash flood warning that was in effect for Kenosha and Racine counties, that's been canceled early. So we've gotten enough drainage and the water is receded enough in the areas that were flooding rapidly in Racine and Kenosha counties to lift the warning, the flash flood warning there. And no new flash flood warnings have been issued since. I'm thinking about the Fond du Lac area. No flash flood warning for Fond du Lac or any of the other counties associated with the storm in the northern part of the listing area have been issued to this point. The storms are still going quite strongly from west of Fond du Lac down to just north of Grafton, and they're gradually dropping to the southeast. So before too long, Horicon will be into this. Hartford and Slinger will be into it. Cedarburg and Grafton will be into this. The storm has not really strengthened over the last, let's say, 15 to 20 minutes or so. I'm happy to see that. In fact, the indications of the wind strength, the radar indications that were leading us to believe there may be 80-mile-an-hour wind gusts aren't quite as clear any longer, and maybe we're dealing with a 60 to 70-mile-an-hour peak wind gust in the short term now in Ozaukee, Washington, and Dodge counties. That's still a noteworthy and dangerous wind, don't get me wrong, but there seems to be at least a little bit of relaxing in terms of the strength of the storm at the present time, and no further indication from the National Weather Service of any tornadic activity either witnessed by officials on the ground or in their interpretation of Doppler radar.
So, Craig, it certainly seems like the worst of it is kind of on its way out as we speak. But, before we let you go, can you just remind people a little bit about where we're at and what to expect as we kind of make our way through the afternoon? Because just because a tornado warning expires doesn't mean that you're completely out of the woods yet when you talk about straight line winds, rain, and certainly these giant pieces of hail we've been seeing for the past maybe hour and a half or so.
Yeah, so I think the most notable thing to keep in mind here is that a severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect until 2:30 for Ozaukee, Washington, and Dodge counties. That means damaging winds and large hail will be possible with the storms, and for that matter, likely with at least some of the storms that move through those three counties. The tornado warning has expired now for Fond du Lac and Dodge counties, just to make that official. But Dodge, Washington, and Ozaukee County are still under the gun for heavy thunderstorms here in the short term until around 2:30. The whole area is under a severe thunderstorm watch until 7 o'clock this evening. That's a long time from now. I don't know that the severe threat will continue that late, but for other communities, the city of Milwaukee to be specific, but then in Waukesha, Jefferson County, and points to the south, there may yet be more storms and severe storms at that for Milwaukee and Waukesha and what you'd consider the greater metro area before this afternoon is done too. So while we are trending downward right now, we're not done with these thunderstorms for the day yet. We've still got a few hours to go.
Well, you just heard it from WTMJ meteorologist Craig Copleen here in Wisconsin's Midday News. The tornado warning for Fond du Lac County and Dodge County has just expired. We are going to take a few minutes here to recombobulate, and we'll be right back.
Is your life stuck in constant stress mode? Headaches, poor sleep, constant tension. Vince Vitrano for Connect Chiropractic, my team that can help not just mask symptoms, but find the root cause. Connect Chiro specializes in neurologically focused chiropractic care, helping your nervous system function the way it's designed so your body can heal, adapt, and perform at its best. Helping our community live healthier, more energized lives. Go ConnectChiro.com.
You've seen us around town, volunteering, supporting events, and showing up where it matters. At Waterstone Bank, we're more than a bank. We're your neighbor. The money you deposit stays local, helping small businesses, creating jobs, and supporting home ownership. It's banking from the community for the community. Visit your local branch or WSBOnline.com to see how we're building a stronger southeastern Wisconsin, one neighbor at a time. Waterstone Bank, member FDIC.
Are you looking to upgrade your home with a new bath, windows, roofing, or siding? At Abbey Home, we're proud to stand for the flag and celebrate America's 250th birthday. For 250 years, Americans have believed in hard work, quality craftsmanship, and taking pride in home ownership. And so do we. That's why we're offering 25% off all projects. That's 25% off all projects. Let our family help improve your home with products built to last and service you can trust. Call Abbey Home today. If somebody asks you if you know a guy in the business, you can say no, but I know a girl.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio.
At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guests, old-fashioned roofing, and appliance gallery. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. And at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk.
Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
From my family and myself, I would like to say thank you to Gruber Law Offices for taking such good care of us.
I would say thank you because you were so human and so much of a friend during the whole process.
I'm super grateful for them representing me and doing all that they did for me.
I would just say thank you for making me feel better.
That's why I'm here, to say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
It is 149. I know I did the last time I bought steak. Beef prices keep going up, but now the Trump administration is taking a step it hopes will help bring those prices down. The U.S. is reopening the southern border to cattle imports from Mexico after a year-long ban tied to fears of the flesh-eating New World screwworm. But with the parasite now detected in parts of the U.S., is this the right time to ease those restrictions? ABC's Jim Ryan joins us. Jim, why is the administration lifting the ban now? Is it solely because everybody's fed up with higher prices?
Well, that may be part of it. I think also the Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins is satisfied that some of the control measures that have been put into place to try to knock out this wave of New World screwworm infestations are working. So, yeah, it's kind of one, and politics may play into it as well. Administration wants to see beef prices come down before the midterms. As it is, they're up about 12% from a year ago.
Jim, has the administration or the USDA outlined any of the steps that they are taking to ensure that this screwworm doesn't further infest itself here stateside?
Well, a lot of it has to do with sterile flies. The New World screwworm is actually a fly, and it lands on a host mammal, and it lays its eggs usually in like the mucous membrane of the nose or an open sore on an animal. That larva then is what screws in and kills the animal. Essentially, it eats living flesh, not dead flesh. And so, so releasing sterile flies into the environment, those sterile flies mate with the active flies, and they essentially cut the reproductive cycle off where it stands. I think the administration is hoping that holds true. Latest check on New World screwworm shows 42 infestations, almost all of them in Texas, 41 in Texas. 15 counties have been involved, but the vast majority of those are inactive counties, meaning that the animal that was infested has died, either was put down or died because of the infection.
Jim, I think as we listen to you say all that, and thank goodness that at this point most people have had their lunch already, but I think a lot of people are wondering, hearing that and how the screwworm works, should we be concerned about the safety of the beef we're buying?
No, cooking beef is going to eradicate anything like this, any sort of threat like that. But so the issue isn't really a health concern for people. It's a concern to the economy. When this happened, when there was an infestation in the 1970s, it knocked down the Texas cattle industry remarkably. I mean, this is the leading state producing beef right now. When it was affected in the 1970s, the industry was essentially wiped out, at least for a couple of years.
How much of this political pressure, as you mentioned, is coming, Jim, from ranchers or farming packs, things like that, compared to pressure from Republicans on Capitol Hill? Has it been even, or has it been mostly coming from those who are really impacted, being the ranchers in Texas?
Yeah, well, the ranchers, certainly, they're one group, but consumers as well. The consumers who are paying sky-high beef prices. I mean, right now, ground beef on average is $6.83 per pound. Steaks, $12.88 per pound. Those consumers, of course, are voters, too. So, too, are cattle ranchers, though. But it depends upon which cattle ranchers you're asking. Some of them say this is a great thing. It's going to help to stabilize the industry. Others aren't so sure. Because Bill Bullard, for example, who heads up something called RCAF USA, U.S. Cattle Producers Group, says that allowing cattle back into the country from Mexico, many of these cattle are coming up from southern Mexico, where New World screwworm is a real problem. So this phased-in approach to reopening the border will start in late August. Not in Texas, but in Arizona, the port of entry at Douglas. That's where the first cattle will come through. It'll be expanded then to New Mexico, and at some point down the road, the importation of cattle from Mexico will come through Texas.
We're talking to ABC's Jim Ryan. The U.S. is reopening the southern border to cattle imports from Mexico after a year-long ban tied to fears of the flesh-eating New World screwworm. Jim, is this expected to be a permanent policy change, or could the border close again if conditions get worse?
Well, we've seen how quickly it can be closed. It doesn't take much but a signing of the pen, a swipe of the pen to shut it down. So, yeah, it could change very quickly if we suddenly see a surge in these numbers. The number of confirmed cases at 42 has stayed right there for the last 6 days. And so maybe those control measures, sterile fly, that policy may be working.
Jim, could you put in perspective, if you would, the size of the industry? Like, what are we talking about when we talk about cattle imports? I think of, the U.S., you think of industry and you think of agriculture and things like that. I guess I never really thought about how much cattle and beef comes through that border.
Well, a lot does. The domestic cattle herd is the smallest it's been in 75 years. And so an effort has been made to import cattle from Canada, from Mexico, to try to increase those numbers and bring down the price. But and behind it all is demand, too. So even if the cattle herd is smaller, demand is going up. That's going to push up the prices. But here in Texas, we're a $16 billion cattle raising state. And you can see that, and it's as much public relations as anything else. 42 animal cases, it's nothing, really. But there's the perception. And if the rest of the country won't buy Texas cattle, then the state's cattle industry is in major trouble, Mike.
Well, I am ready for those prices to go down. I'll tell you what, Jim, It seems like steak sometimes it's on sale, but I'm looking at Metro Market and my coupons right now. There's no coupon to clip for steak. So this is good news for all of us buying. ABC's Jim Ryan. Thanks so much, Jim.
All right. Thanks, guys.
You are listening to WTMJ. Mike Spalding and Jessica Ty here on Wisconsin's Midday News. Good news is tornado warnings have all expired for Dodge and Fond du Lac counties this afternoon. We were under that threat for about an hour and 15 minutes. Heavy rain does persist. Some hail reports still, as well as some straight line winds associated with some thunderstorms that are expected to continue throughout the remainder of the afternoon and into the evening. We will continue to keep our eyes on the skies. That tornado warning, though, has since expired for Dodge and Fond du Lac counties. WTMJ News Times, 1:55.
The fact is, without us, you'll pay more. When you buy advertising, unless you're seeking out every avenue that the chosen medium has to offer and negotiating with every entity to find out what the true floor is, there's no way you can know if you really did get your best deal. In fact, there's a big chance that you'll overpay. We've done all the legwork, and with a very high volume of consistent year-in and year-out billing, we've uncovered rates that we're sure will surprise you. Anderson-Smith.com. We help small business advertisers get better results. The proof is in the pudding. Advertisers that hire us stick with us for years and years because they trust us, because we always promptly respond to customer needs, and because bottom line, we get results. Go to Anderson-Smith.com's Our Clients page to see who trusts us and check out a long list of real advertising success. Then hit the Contact Us button, email me, and I'll call you in short order because it's time we grew your business. Anderson-Smith.com.
Trying to keep up with the 21st century can really get you down.
When you need a break, come to Kessler's.
We'll turn your day around.
We have good air conditioning.
And we love making new friends.
The coffee's better than average.
Because we want you to come back again.
We want to be your jeweler.
My father told you for 29 years that he wanted to be your jeweler.
He put that desire in everyone he hired.
And then he gave us the company.
He transformed our lives and gave us the most fun job on earth.
It's easy to sell jewelry when you sell it for less than it's worth.
Come and take a look at our engagement rings.
And of course, we have thousands of other things.
When you're having an overcast day, come to Kessler's.
We're going to turn your day around.
Free jewelry cleaning done by world-class professionals.
While you drink your good coffee in a room full of diamonds and gold.
Makes you feel better, no matter what you've been told.
One thing you definitely want to see before you're done
is our exclusive Kessler 81.
To find the Kesslers nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
What do you want retirement to look like? Hi, I'm Tony Drake, certified financial planner and founder of Drake & Associates right here in Wisconsin. For some people, retirement means travel and new adventures. For others, it means spending more time with family or pursuing passions they never had time for before. But turning those goals into a reality takes thoughtful planning. It's not just about saving money. It's about designing an income strategy that supports the life you want while helping your savings last throughout retirement. At Drake & Associates, we help Wisconsin families connect their financial plan with their lifestyle goals, building strategies designed to help support both today's needs and tomorrow's opportunities. My complimentary retirement toolkit can help you begin that process. It includes my book, Get Retirement Ready, and 5 guides covering income planning, taxes, and retirement strategies. Call 414-897-9522 or text the word tax to 414-897-9522 for your no-cost toolkit. That's 414-897-9522 or text the word tax to 414-897-9522. Because retirement planning isn't just about numbers, it's about the life those numbers support.
Drake & Associates LLC is an independent investment advisory firm that offers a variety of different investment vehicles. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only and should not be construed as individual investment advice. Drake & Associates LLC does not provide legal or tax advice. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.
The place you want to go, Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
Your trusted and relevant source for news, sports, traffic, and weather. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
Hey, it's 2 o'clock on the dot. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Monday, July 27th. I'm Jessica Ty. Your top story, staying weather aware for the rest of the afternoon.
I'm Mike Spalding in for Greg Matzik. An inopportune time for widespread power outages.
A severe thunderstorm warning continues in Sheboygan and Fond du Lac counties until 2:15 this afternoon, and for Ozaukee, Dodge, and Washington counties until 2:30 this afternoon. We do have another chance for showers, rain, and storms tonight. Then it'll be mostly cloudy. We'll dip down to 67 degrees for the low. Tomorrow, becoming mostly sunny. We have a high of 80 degrees. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, strong storms with wind gusts up to 80 miles per hour. Just some of the concerns across southeastern Wisconsin. WTMJ meteorologist Craig Copleen details some of the other reasons to be weather aware today.
Large hail. We've had numerous reports of tennis ball size hail, though that's also dangerous, especially if you're driving through it. That's the kind of hail size that could smash your windshield, at the very least crack it and maybe put a hole right through your windshield. Also, the torrential rain. Folks on the roads are likely going to be driving through high water.
Some other good news here. Flash flood warnings are now canceled for both Kenosha and Racine counties. Your WTMJ full 5-day forecast coming up in just minutes.
The National Weather Service, Jessica, just now issuing a severe thunderstorm warning for Milwaukee and Waukesha counties. That will remain in effect from now up through 3:30 this afternoon. We Energy's also reporting about 30,000 customers without power across southeast Wisconsin. The utility saying the crews are working to restore service. Customers without electricity being urged to report outages online through the We Energy's app or to call it in. We Energy is also reminding people to stay at least 25 feet away from any downed power lines, saying always assume that they're energized.
The deadly police shooting of Corey Ruiz in the state capitol will not be investigated by Madison police themselves. And that's because of a state law that Michael Bell advocated for. Michael Bell's son was shot dead by Kenosha police more than 2 decades ago now. Bell tells Wisconsin's Weekend Morning News what it was like watching that video of Ruiz.
I was sickened. The optics in that shooting were very similar to the optics in my son's shooting. You have 4 officers standing over somebody that's being subdued, and lethal force was being used immediately, and it seemed like without remorse.
In 2014, Wisconsin became the first state to require an outside agency investigate deadly shootings involving police officers.
Former FBI Director James Comey's attorneys have filed a motion to dismiss the indictment against him that charged him with a picture that he posted on his personal Instagram. Federal prosecutors claiming the image of seashells reading 8647 last year constituted a threat against the president's life.
Defense lawyers accused the Department of Justice of singling out Comey to, quote, prosecute one of the president's most prominent critics. They argue that the photo of seashells arranged in the numbers 8647 are a kind of political speech protected by the First Amendment. Comey has vigorously denied that his post was ever intended as a threat against Trump and is expected to plead not guilty in an arraignment scheduled for next month in North Carolina. Peter Haralambous, ABC News.
Seattle police are searching for a second suspect after gunfire erupted at a crowded food festival. One suspect is under arrest. News Nation's Mills Hayes.
This happened just after 6 o'clock on Sunday, and the bullets hit 7 bystanders. 3 people were killed, 4 others injured, including a 2-year-old child. As of this morning, the hospital says that the toddler is the only patient that is still in the hospital, but is in stable condition. Police were able to take one suspect described as a young person into custody who surrendered after being confronted by police, and 2 guns were recovered.
Investigators believe the 2 gunmen knew each other.
Time now for some news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. 2 out of 3 indices in the green this afternoon. The Dow is up 215 points at 52,162. The S&P 500's up about 2.5 at 74.14. The Nasdaq down right now 37 points at 24,938. It's financial planning at every level. It's Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, and Annex Ignite. Get more details right now at annexwealth.com.
We're counting down to camp. Training camp, that is. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time. It's coming up on 2:05.
Have you been living with pain and just assuming it's something you have to just live with and accept? Do not. I'm Julia Fellow with WTMJ. If chronic pain is keeping you from enjoying life, I want you to head to Jens Family Chiropractic in Germantown. Jens Family Chiropractic is now offering soft wave tissue regeneration therapy. It's an advanced, non-invasive treatment. It helps your body repair itself naturally. I'm getting that done on my lower back. Soft wave stimulates healing, improves blood flow, and activates your own body's repair cells to target pain at its source. If you're dealing with knee pain, shoulder pain, back pain, do not wait another day. For a limited time, your first soft wave treatment is just $57. This is an incredible opportunity to find out if this breakthrough therapy can help you get back to the things you love, like it did for me. Head to jensfamilychiropractic.com. That's YENTZ familychiropractic.com. Regenerate, recover, live pain-free at jensfamilychiropractic.com.
Slide into your neighborhood Century Food Store to score the freshest produce, tastiest treats, and everything in between. Now through Wednesday, save on fresh 90% lean ground beef, $5.99 a pound, 1 pound fresh strawberries, $3.49, large sweet peaches, $2.49 a pound, 7 to 10 ounce selected varieties, essential everyday potato chips or salty snacks, 2 for $4.
It's a long fly ball.
What?
Safe.
Every time I scan, what is happening?
A leaping grab at the wall.
Okay, fine, I'll play. Get a load of this watermelon. And here's the pitch.
Please wait for assistance.
Win Century Foods Ultimate Fan Experiences at Milwaukee baseball games. Throw out the first pitch, hold the ribbon for the Johnsonville Famous Sausage Race, or watch batting practice from the field.
Ooh, what do I do?
Complete the entry form in Century's weekly ad and return to the store.
Oh, no, what happened here?
Oh, self-checkout couldn't handle my heater. Here, I filled out my entry form. Gotta go. Have a great day.
I'll go get the mop.
Enter by August 5th.
Time for a WTMJ Sports update at the Gruber Law Office's sports desk. Packers kicking off training camp this week with 12 public practices open this summer. Family night at Lambeau Field is set to be August 7th. The Milwaukee Brewers head west after winning a series against the Colorado Rockies over the weekend at AmFam Field, culminating in another gem pitched by Jacob Mizorowski. The Miz struck out 12 out of the first 13 batters he faced Sunday afternoon, ended up retiring the first 14 batters overall.
Yeah, I felt a lot better today. I felt like I was in my legs better, so, I felt like I was in a good spot. I just couldn't trust the heater, and me and Gary really, ran with that.
Brewers, again, are out west this evening. They take on the San Francisco Giants in California. Coverage on WTMJ starts at 8:10.
Checking out the roads with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. We're looking a little bit better than we were about a half hour ago here. Still a couple of crashes, though, and I do want to alert you to those right now. In Milwaukee County, in a busy spot, I-94 West at I-41. Right lane is closed due to a crash. Unfortunately, the camera is not up and running in that spot. I always like to take a peek at the camera and let you know what exactly is going on, but that camera feed is down right now. Bottom line, though, we've got a new crash just popped up a couple of minutes ago here. I-94 West at 41. The right lane is closed because of that crash, and I can see just from the colors on the map that we are starting to see an impact with delays because of that. A couple disabled vehicles that just got caught in downpours as well. I-43 North at the ramp from North Avenue. Left shoulder is blocked due to a broken down car there. A couple other disabled vehicles, but as I take a peek around the board, those are not causing any problems, so I'm not going to waste your time with that. And closer to the airport, this one, 4194 South at Rawson Avenue. Right shoulder is blocked there, and it looks like there's just a little bit of a delay.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast. A handful of severe thunderstorm warnings affecting much of southeast Wisconsin. Sheboygan and Fond du Lac County under a warning until 2:15. Ozaukee, Dodge, and Washington counties under a storm warning till 2:30. While Milwaukee and Waukesha counties are under a severe thunderstorm warning until 3:30. Mostly cloudy otherwise. Good chance you're feeling, seeing, hearing some rain if you're listening to my voice right now. A low overnight, 67 degrees. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, a high 80. Wednesday, mostly sunny, 82. Thursday, sunny, 87. Friday, chance of rain showers resume. Some storms are possible as well, a high of 82 degrees. Right now in downtown Milwaukee, it is 87 degrees. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Times, 2:09.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios in downtown Milwaukee, it's Wisconsin's Midday News, making stories come to life. Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Ty, and in for Greg Matzek, it's Mike Spalding.
Well, that was a whirlwind of the first 2 hours there with Mother Nature.
Yes.
We're not done yet.
We are not quite out of the woods yet. The good news is those tornado warnings have since expired. We're just getting some rain and some wind.
Thank goodness for that. We're keeping an eye on everything for you. Coming up this hour, the focus is shifting from Wisconsin to New York. We'll talk with one of the organizers behind the next major animal rights campaign. But first,
here's your top 2 at 2 on Wisconsin's Midday News.
Number 1, a confirmed tornado spotted over Appleton. That's the word from the National Weather Service. The tornado was spotted just after noon. Meanwhile, tornado warnings in Fond du Lac and Dodge counties, as Mike mentioned, have now expired. Stay weather aware throughout the day, though. WTMJ meteorologist Craig Copleen just minutes ago, right here on Midday.
Torrential rainfall can lead to dangerous flooding. We've got thunderstorms with tremendous amounts of lightning here. So we're going to be into a serious situation where everybody wants to really be weather aware and keep themselves and their families and friends safe here for several more hours.
There was also a big question up at Lambeau Field as to what was going to happen. What was Mother Nature going to do? Because right now, happening now, is the annual Packers shareholders meeting. And I was just taking a peek because they did alert fans. They said, hey, dress appropriately. If it's going to be too hot, make sure you're dressed, cooler. And they also said if there are storms or if it rains too much, that they would bring it inside. But I'm taking a peek right now, and I see there are fans galore outside. I guess there was a torrential downpour, but it stopped just in time to have all the owners there for the annual Packers shareholders meeting. This is the first shareholders meeting led by new Packers president and CEO Ed Policy.
Yeah, and all reviews so far, Jessica, are good. He got some cheers, namely when he mentioned that they have no plans on selling the rights to Lambeau Field. That is straight from Ed Policy's mouth about 28 minutes ago as he addresses, looks like several hundred, if not maybe on the low end of 1,000 people who went up to Lambeau Field, bared some of the weather that was earlier this afternoon. But our friend at ESPN, Rob Domofsky, says the skies parted just in time. Crowds are there. Everyone's very happy. The Packers also announced something that could draw some attention to at least one of the games this season, some added attention, and that is the announcement that Bob Harlan's name is set to be placed on the Lambeau Field facade right next to Ted Thompson's name. That'll happen on October 29th in a game against the Panthers. So Bob Harlan passed away earlier this year, will be forever enshrined on the facade of Lambeau Field on October 29th against the Panthers.
It's kind of fun to see all those Packers fans up there. You've got thousands of people, and this is a time, at the end of the day, it is a business meeting. That sounds a little bit boring, but it's also one of the Packers' biggest traditions for fans. So a lot of people go up there. They make this a yearly event. Some people only go once. But fun fact for you here, fans have supported the team financially on several occasions, including 6 stock sales. One in 1923, one in 1935, 1950, 1997, 2011, and I think that's when I bought stock. Do you have any stock at the Packers?
I do not. I do want it, though. I didn't when I first moved here. I was like, whatever, it's just a piece of paper. And now the more like friends you get and you see it like hanging in people's like basements and stuff, you kind of have like FOMO. So next time I'm paying the $300 whatever dollars it is. For
I get what you're saying. There are a lot of people who say, it's just a piece of paper and it doesn't matter. There was another one, the most recent one in 2022. But I'll tell you what, when it was available in 2011, I did it because, one, I've been a Packers fan for life, but also because the money that you were putting up for it, and it wasn't that much, was going to renovations. Yes. So it was like, not only did you get that piece of paper, not only could you have the bragging rights to say, yeah, I'm a Packers shareholder, I have stock, I'm an owner, but also that money was going to something, and you could say, hey, I'm helping out renovations at Lambeau Field.
Well, and if you remember the 1997 sale, there was some concern about the Packers potentially, I don't know how serious it was.
Yeah.
About moving out of Green Bay, about perhaps a new stadium for Lambeau Field. And the team then, actually, Bob Harlan, coincidentally enough, really pushed like, hey, we need to make renovations because every single team is doing this and we're going to be last in the league when it comes to some of these amenities. And I don't know if it was a threat or not, but it is good to know when you have things like what's happening today, knowing where your money goes when you do buy that piece of stock. And hey, I know you're the investigative reporter here. I don't know if it's coincidence or not, but there are a handful of Packers fans from Germany there today.
I love it.
With a German flag out in front of where they're standing. So maybe something to keep an eye on the next couple of years.
Okay, that would be a lot of fun. Let's go over there. By the way, also get excited, Packers fans, because training camp, it is coming up. It begins Wednesday. The kids need to get those bikes out. So the countdown to camp is on. It's 2:15.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. You've heard me talking about our incredible Croatia and Slovenia adventure in fall of 2027. I knew it'd be popular, but even I was surprised when it sold out so fast. The good news, there's still an opportunity to experience this same custom itinerary created for WTMJ listeners by my favorite travel company, Colette. I won't be on the departure, but it's an unforgettable itinerary, a 7-night cruise on a chartered small ship, fairy tale cities, picture-perfect islands, the Adriatic and Dalmatian coast. It's incredible. Cobblestone streets, crystal waters. Colette handles all the details, flights, meals, hotels, local experiences, a full-time guide with you from start to finish. There are only 18 cabins on the ship. Makes it special, but space is limited. Text Croatia to 855-616-1620 for all the info, including pricing. Let me show you the world. Come away with me. CROATIA to 855-616-1620. Croatia 2027.
WTMJ's Jessica Ty for Steinhoffels. Upgrade your sleep and save on Beauty Rest at Steinhoffels. Right now, get a free foundation with your Beauty Rest mattress purchase. Queen start at only $14.99, or step up to the luxury of a Beauty Rest Black King adjustable base set and get $500 instant savings. Plus, with Steinhoffels 60-month financing, Better sleep has never been more affordable. Don't overpay for a great night's sleep. Shop in store or online at steinhoffels.com. Relax. It's Steinhoffels.
It's a border matchup when the Brewers take on the Twins Friday, August 7th through Sunday the 9th. It doesn't get any more Midwest than a Brewers Bar dice giveaway. The first 25,000 fans 21 and older can collect it at the game on Saturday the 8th, courtesy of Miller Lite. Follow it up with a bobblehead that's perfect for kids and collectors at Sesame Street Day. The Oscar the Grouch bobble with a special ticket package. Get your tickets at brewers.com.
And taking a look at your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Severe thunderstorm warning continues in parts of southeast Wisconsin. Let's start in Ozaukee, Dodge, and Washington counties. It'll be in effect for about 15 more minutes. It expires at 2:30. Here in Milwaukee and Waukesha counties, we are under a severe thunderstorm warning until 3:30. Jessica, getting some eyes on some of the damage up in Menasha, the Appleton area. It does appear, it looks very close to like a tornado blew through there. We do know that there is some public assistance locations being put up in Appleton, and we'll continue to touch base with what's going on up there through the newsroom. But the initial images out of Menasha does certainly look like a tornado touchdown and damaged at least a couple of different neighborhoods.
Not good.
No, not great at all. Looking at the weather this evening, some chances, some storms still in the forecast. Mostly cloudy overnight, a low 67. Tomorrow, beautiful, mostly sunny skies, a high 80. Wednesday, sunny, 82 degrees. Thursday, mostly sunny, a high of 87. And on Friday, chance of some showers in the forecast, possible storms. We'll see when we get there, a high of 82 degrees. Right now in Milwaukee, it's 87 degrees at 218.
A major legal setback for the Trump administration could shape how millions of Americans vote in the midterm elections. A federal appeals court has blocked the administration's effort to implement new restrictions on mail-in voting in the 23 states challenging the order. One of those states was Wisconsin. Governor Tony Evers called Trump's order restricting mail-in voting BS. This is a direct quote from Evers. He said, "This is bull and it's illegal. We'll see President Trump in court." Now, the appeals court has sided with Wisconsin and the other states, at least for now. ABC's Peter Haralambos joins us. Peter, what exactly did the Trump administration's executive order seek to change about mail-in voting?
Yeah, so this executive order earlier this year attempted to impose restrictions by having basically the Postal Service work with the Department of Homeland Security to create this list of approved voters who could receive ballots by mail. That would really be an unprecedented instance of the Postal Service intervening on behalf of the federal government in state and local administration of elections. We saw this lawsuit from multiple states, 23 states in the District of Columbia, and they've been successful. They got a ruling out of Boston blocking that order from taking effect. And over the weekend, we saw this 2-1 ruling from the First Circuit Court of Appeals, making it very clear, quote, "Under the Constitution, state and local officials are responsible for administering federal elections." This ruling said that this proposed policy, this executive order, would include, quote, "unprecedented levels of involvement by the federal government," and, quote, "sow confusion and threaten disenfranchisement of many voters." Ultimately, this seems like a fight that's going to continue. The Trump administration likely to go to the Supreme Court, and of course, President Trump continuing to push Congress pass the Safe America Act, which would impose similar restrictions.
Peter, one of the arguments for something like this is combating voter fraud. I was just checking out your abcnews.com story this morning, and it turns out that voter fraud is extremely rare. I think even more rare than I thought. I mean, the Heritage Foundation had, 387 instances of absentee ballot fraud since 1982 or something like that?
That's right. And I mean, and we're talking about the Heritage Institute here. We're not talking about some, really left-wing progressive organization. We're talking about a wholeheartedly conservative organization saying that this is uncommon. And ultimately, the Trump administration has been using it, using the broad allegation of voter fraud as kind of a rallying cry to pass the Save America Act, even though it's kind of statistically insignificant, and to the extent it does happen, because it does happen at times, it is pretty thoroughly prosecuted, right? If you use your name to vote and you're not a citizen, it's a crime that is inherently traceable back to you and really not the kind of thing you can fight. That being said, the Trump administration, pointing to recent instances like what we saw last week in New Jersey, the Governor Mikey Sherrill there disclosed the fact that an issue with their DMV registration system led more than 6,000 non-citizens to register to vote, led to 400 people actually voting in elections. The Trump administration in the White House point to that and say that's exactly the reason that we need this. So again, that's the Save America Act. That would require Congress. That would fare much better in the courts than what we're seeing here, which is a unilateral attempt by the executive to use the Postal Service to intervene in elections.
So, two-pronged question for you here. One, could the administration appeal this to the Supreme Court? And then if yes, if the Supreme Court takes the case, is there enough time for a ruling before the 2026 midterm elections?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the timing because, we're now 99 days out from the midterms. And the Supreme Court, to the extent they're very powerful here, does take their time to issue major rulings. That being said, the Trump administration has been rather successful using the emergency docket, also known as the shadow docket, to seek emergency relief. In this case, they said in court filings they're likely to try to do this. They'll go to the Supreme Court. They're going to ask for an emergency stay of that lower court ruling, and they're likely to ask the Supreme Court to grant cert and basically hear the case. So even if we don't hear the case until sometime next year, the Trump administration from the Supreme Court could basically have that order lifted and try to implement this on their own, though the fact that we're getting so close to the midterms really creates questions about how they're actually going to pull this off. For example, some states are not too far away from actually sending out ballots to voters. If you already send out ballots to voters, what are you supposed to do when the Postal Service says, we're not going to deliver them, we're not going to take them up at this point? How do you go forward as a state that relies on mail-in voting?
Well, Peter, that's a great point that you made, because my next question was going to be around that clarity around Election Day, around absentee voting, mail-in voting, all those things. It just seems like, if nothing else, it sowed plenty of confusion ahead of critical election markers.
That's right. I mean, again, this circuit court ruling, they call it out explicitly. This will, quote, sow confusion and threaten disenfranchisement of many voters. And even if this is ultimately blocked by the Supreme Court, which will theoretically take up this question in the coming weeks, the Trump administration has been pretty effective in consistently calling out what they claim is rampant voter fraud to cast doubt on elections. The president giving that primetime speech, for example, a few weeks ago, where he basically said that our elections are not secure. What's striking, though, is when you actually look at the documents released by the White House to justify these alleged instances of vulnerabilities in our election system, they, one, generally say the opposite, and two, explicitly warned about the harms that could happen if someone were to use that information about our elections to say that they're illegitimate, to cast doubt on them, framing it as if an adversary could use it to really corrupt our elections. In this case, the President of the United States appears to be misusing this information to tell Americans across the country that elections are not safe and you cannot trust them.
I mentioned at the top that quote from Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers. I was looking back at his statement. He said, thanks to Wisconsin's dedicated clerks, election administrators, and poll workers, our state's elections are safe, free, and secure, and we want to keep them that way. He then went on to say, in America, states run our elections, not the president, and the president cannot just wake up one morning and decide to rewrite our laws because he doesn't like them. That's not how laws work in this country. I'm curious as far as the other states. There were 23 states involved. Wisconsin was one of them. What are some of the other states? Because oftentimes you get a lawsuit like this and maybe it's the Republican states that jump on it or the Democratic states. Was it a mix or was there kind of a theme here?
So this was brought by 23 largely Democratic states in Washington, D.C. And what's interesting is the Supreme Court a few years ago said that nationwide injunctions are not lawful. So when the court in Boston blocked this executive order, it only applied in the 23 states that sued, meaning that in the 27 states that were not signed on to this lawsuit, the Trump administration technically does have the green light to move forward with this. We'll have to see if they actually do that. We've reached out to the Postal Service for comment. They declined to comment about if they're going to try to advance this, citing this ongoing litigation. And I will note, in terms of the states that they do have the green light to proceed with, the Trump administration is really trying to crack down on the Democratic states which have generally refused to hand over voter data and have been much more resistant to the Trump administration's demands.
Peter, I know you already mentioned there is a chance that this could head to the U.S. Supreme Court. Do you have any sort of a timeline as far as what happens next? Because I think when you start talking about first court of appeals and the second and all these kinds of things, people's eyes glaze over. And I think ultimately what they want to know is, how am I supposed to vote coming up in August or September or whenever my midterm is?
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're a voter in Wisconsin, for example, it's best to proceed with the assumption that the policies have not changed. Talk to your local election officials for actual guidance here, because this does get convoluted. In terms of the actual timeline, I think in all likelihood we'll see the Supreme Court get this emergency application sometime in the next 1 to 3 weeks, and they sometimes return a decision within a matter of days or even weeks. Sometimes they ask for briefing from both sides. Either way, it's possible we get a decision sometime in August, and then it's really on the Trump administration to see if they try to push this through. Again, we're already 99 days from the midterm elections. It would really create some chaos if they try to implement it within 2 months of the election itself. And technically, there are some procedural hurdles in the way. Even if they did have the green light, technically the Postal Service hasn't finished their rulemaking. So it's possible this just gets delayed by the courts to the point at which it's not really feasible to implement. Though with the Trump administration, it's just hard to tell given how aggressively they've pursued these allegations of voter fraud and this push for more federal oversight.
It's an important update. Thanks for keeping us in the know. That's ABC's Peter Haralambos. We appreciate it, Peter.
Thanks so much for having me.
Accident Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Brian Wicker, Chief Homebuyer Helper with Wisconsin's own Accident Mortgage. Nicer homes are still getting multiple offers over asking, and there's only one winner per listing. I want to help you be that winner, which is why I just increased the rock-solid pre-approval guarantee to $10,000. It's all about getting the seller to pick your offer over the others. So AccuNet is now guaranteeing in writing to pay the seller 10,000 American bucks if we can't make good on the terms of your fully verified rock-solid pre-approval. Banks don't do that. We're willing to stand behind our work and stand behind you with a $10,000 guarantee that sellers will definitely notice. Maybe you've been writing offers and losing, which feels terrible, or maybe you're just starting out. Either way, don't settle for a flimsy bank pre-approval and let someone else end up sleeping in your dream home. Give the seller 10,000 reasons to say yes to your offer with AccuNet's new $10,000 rock-solid seller guarantee. Get started with yours today at ACCUNET.com.
Hey, John Mercure here from WTMJ. When it's time for a new vehicle, I know exactly where I'm headed. It's the place I bought my last car, and I love it. It's Griffin Ford in Waukesha. We buy our vehicles there. Right now is a great time to make your move because Griffin has one of the largest selections of new Ford vehicles in Wisconsin. That means you choose the color, trim, features you want. They're right there on the lot. They don't have to bring the car in from far away. You don't have to wait. Looking for an SUV? Griffin Ford has 47 new Ford Explorers to choose from. Savings over $8,400 on select 2026 Explorer active models. Need a truck? They've got more than 60 of those beautiful Ford F-Series pickups, including the popular F-150. Plus, qualified buyers can get 0% financing for 36 months on most new Ford models. And you'll receive a 2-year, 25,000-mile maintenance package included with most new vehicles. Shop at Griffin Ford in Waukesha, where I buy my cars. It's Griffin Ford.
Summer is the time to enjoy the outside. Enjoy the deck, the patio, the fire pit, the shade, the screen room, the in-ground pool. Enjoy all of it in your own backyard. Outdoor Living Unlimited is Wisconsin's top TimberTech decking installer and can deliver a design and build your next maintenance-free deck with a custom screen room and automated pergola. Stop by our Outdoor Living Unlimited showroom at 665 Larry Court in Waukesha or visit OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
It's 2:30. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Monday, July 27th. I'm Jessica Ty. Your top story, severe weather packs a punch in southeastern Wisconsin.
I'm Mike Spalding. Thousands without power in Winnebago County.
A severe thunderstorm warning continues from Milwaukee and Waukesha counties until 3:30.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. President Trump, while traveling to Michigan to speak at an economic event, says he's in no rush to reach a temporary ceasefire deal with Iran. It comes after the president backed away from hitting Iran hard with strikes over the weekend. He says to give diplomacy a chance. The president says Iran wants to restart talks.
I have a lot of patience. I have plenty of time. Plenty of time. Their whole shoreline's wiped out. The strait is in very good shape. And we're talking right now. You know, they wanted to talk.
Sources tell ABC News the pause in strikes is also out of concern for the U.S. stockpile of air defense systems, including Patriots. Seattle authorities continue to search for a second suspect wanted in connection with the deadly shooting at a food festival last night. 3 people were killed, 4 others injured. Police say a 15-year-old is in custody. Temporary protected status, or TPS, for more than 300,000 Haitians set to expire today, along with protections for thousands of Syrians. It follows a Supreme Court ruling last month. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Times 2:31.
A tornado confirmed through radar in Winnebago County, about 90 miles northwest of Milwaukee. Video shows chunks of twisted metal and pieces of wood scattered across one highway, and cars had to maneuver around all this debris. There's also a warehouse that appears to be heavily damaged this afternoon. National Weather Service meteorologists say the agency was receiving reports of a variety of damage in southern Outagamie County and eastern Winnebago County.
A number of severe thunderstorm warnings remain in southeast Wisconsin, including Milwaukee, Waukesha, and Dodge counties. And while some of the worst of those warnings, including tornadoes, have been ruled out, we're not quite out of the woods yet. WTMJ meteorologist Craig Coplain.
Torrential rainfall can lead to dangerous flooding. We've got thunderstorms with tremendous amounts of lightning here. So we're going to be into a serious situation where everybody wants to really be weather aware and keep themselves and their families and friends safe here for several more hours.
A tornado through Winnebago County, knocking roughly 18,000 customers out of power today. Village officials or city officials in Menasha say all 18,000 people there are without power this afternoon.
A Milwaukee County Sheriff's deputy and his canine are recovering right now after a crash this morning that shut down I-94 in Oak Creek.
Can we send emergency assistance to the freeway? We're taking calls of I-94 northbound between Drexel and Rawson. A deputy's been struck and is unresponsive. We're getting the fire department headed that way.
That sound courtesy of Broadcastify. Authorities say deputies were responding to a different crash involving a semi near Drexel Avenue when a sheriff's squad was hit. Happened around 4 o'clock this morning. It was just a mess out there. The deputy was taken to a hospital, but is expected to be okay.
Jury selection continues in the trial against a former Milwaukee city attorney.
Chairman Spencer is facing 1 felony count of misconduct in office and a misdemeanor for obstructing an officer. Those charges were filed nearly 2 years ago after he allegedly directed his staff in the city attorney's office to help him avoid paying thousands of dollars in fees and required repair work on a property he rented to store cars. Spencer is also accused of helping the building's owner avoid inspections and permits. If convicted, he faces up to 4 years in prison. Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
Coming up, Ridgeland Farms is nearly empty. So what's next for the movement that helped bring it to this point? That's coming up in just minutes here. But first, sports, traffic, and weather. It's 2:34.
So, Dad, what gives with the square pizzas?
Well, Marty wanted to be different, but little did he know that he was giving everyone a real value. We figured it out. Our 12-inch square pizza covers 27% more space than a 12-inch round.
A bigger pizza and a better value.
Yep, 27% more.
Marty's Pizza in Delafield.
And martyspizza.net for easy online ordering.
Register online for Red Card Loyalty, and after 15 pizzas, you'll get your next one free!
Marty's Pizza. Do you remember when times were good? Well, they're good again. It's as good today as it was in the past. It doesn't get any better than that. Remember Marty's Pizza.
When I hit my 50s, I felt like things were slowing down.
This is Sandra's Metamucil story.
I started taking Metamucil for digestion, but had no idea it would impact so much more. Not only did Metamucil help me feel more regular, but my heart health saw the benefits too.
Metamucil. One simple routine, 4 health benefits. Digestive health starts here. Go to Metamucil.com for more details.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight illnesses like pneumococcal pneumonia and RSV. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and can help protect you from getting really sick. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. See more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
For more than a century, Curative Care has been helping children, adults, and families across southeast Wisconsin navigate developmental disabilities and find the support they need to thrive. Curative helps families every step of the way, from early childhood through adulthood, connecting parents with resources, providing guidance during challenging times, and creating a community where people truly belong. If you know someone who may be looking for answers and support for a loved one with developmental disabilities, visit curative.org today.
Keep the comfort in and the weather out with beautiful new windows and doors from Siding Unlimited. For ideas, go to our Siding Unlimited Instagram page. For a free estimate and honest price guarantee, go to sidingunlimited.com.
Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all sports desk. The Milwaukee Brewers victorious Sunday afternoon. They beat the Rockies 11-2 at American Family Field. Jacob Mizrowski pitching yet another gem, striking out 12 over 5 innings. The Brewers headed west today. They take on the San Francisco Giants this evening. Brandon Strout is expected to take the mound. Coverage on WTMJ starts at 8:10. And Packers training camp set to get underway this week. They are going to be participating in practices starting on Wednesday. Jordan Love, ahead of heading up to Green Bay, stopped in Milwaukee to host a football camp.
I'm excited. I love the guys we got. I love the team we got. I think everybody's in a good place. And so now it's time to get back for training camp and keep building on the things we left off on OTAs and get ready to attack the season.
Meanwhile, today was the annual shareholders meeting up at Lambeau Field. Couple nuggets of note. The Packers say they will enshrine former executive Bob Harlan on the facade of Lambeau Field. That'll happen on October 29th in a game against the Panthers. And if you're a fan of sports documentary series, you're in luck. Omaha Productions says they're working on a 6-part Packers documentary set to be released at an unspecified time yet this winter.
Looking forward to that. Checking out the roads now with your WTMJ Time Saver Traffic. We're looking better than we were throughout the afternoon when Mother Nature came down with those downpours. It was nasty. We had quite a few crashes. Right now, for the most part, just 2 main crashes I want to let you know about. This first one here is in Washington County, popped up just minutes ago. 4145 north at Holy Hill Road. The 2 right lanes are blocked due to a crash, and I am seeing backups because of it. Also, in Ozaukee County, we have another crash. I-43 north, about 2 miles beyond Wisconsin 57. Right lane is closed due to a crash there. No cameras in that area, but I can tell just from the colors on the map that we are starting to see backups there as well. That's I-43 north, about 2 miles beyond Wisconsin 57. Right lane is closed because of the crash.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast. A number of severe thunderstorm warnings are still in effect for southeast Wisconsin. Jefferson County until 3:15. Milwaukee and Waukesha counties until 3:30. A little bit up north, Dodge County also under a severe thunderstorm warning until 3:15 this afternoon. As for the weather, the remainder of the day, chances some showers still in the forecast, a low 67. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high of 80 degrees. Wednesday, mostly sunny, 82. Thursday, mostly sunny skies, 87. And on Friday, chances some showers and possible storms in the forecast, a high of 82 degrees. Right now, downtown Milwaukee, it's 87 degrees at 2:39.
We are now just days away from the end of an era at Ridgeland Farms. I reached out to Big Dog Ranch Rescue to get an update, and the CEO tells me August 12th is the day the remaining beagles are expected to leave the Dane County Breeding and Research Facility as part of that agreement with Big Dog. But for some of the activists who spent years trying to close Ridgeland Farms, this is not the end of the movement. Lisa Castanozzi from Shorewood has spent about 8 years advocating against Ridgeland Farms. Now she's helping organize a 207-mile march in New York calling for an end to animal research. And Lisa joins us live in the studio. Thanks for being here, Lisa.
Thank you for having me.
You spent years trying to shut down Ridgeland Farms. What does it feel like today, knowing we are ultimately just days away from the breeding and research facility transferring those remaining dogs out?
Well, it's the best possible outcome we all could have hoped and worked for, for almost a decade. some people over a decade. Myself for 8 years. We're all elated. It just is the best outcome. It took a lot of work, a lot of resources, a lot of volunteers, national organizations helping us, Lori Simmons, Wayne Pacelli with Animal Wellness Action, in addition to all the individuals that have just worked so hard.
Where do the dogs go after they're released out of Ridgeland Farms? Are many of them being adopted? I think sometimes people read the story and their knowledge stops at Ridgeland Farms does XYZ, and who knows? So are they getting adopted, or where are the pets going?
It was very well organized from all the groups involved. They went to various small rescues around the country, a lot in Wisconsin, a lot of humane societies in Wisconsin. Most of them, if not, I'm sure all of them were pre-vetted. So they are all around. And some of the rescues, especially the smaller ones locally here, like even in Milwaukee, they would spend weeks and months with these dogs to help them release their trauma and come out of their shell. Some of them wouldn't come out behind a couch, for days or months, weeks and months. So they had to get acclimated. It's been, for some of them, a long process, especially my friend adopted a mama beagle who had been, stuck in a windowless warehouse shed without light for 8 years breeding. And so that little puppy took some time, and she's coming around now. Yes, they're with rescues and being adopted, and there's many people interested in still adopting and waiting for them. So it's great.
You are due in court 4 weeks from today, I believe it is, on charges stemming from the first raid at Ridgeland in March. You face 12 years in prison if convicted. How are you preparing for that?
We like to call it an open rescue. We're in Wisconsin. You have a right. There's a law. You have a right to rescue a dog who's being criminally abused. And so, to answer your question first, I'm not only facing 12 years in prison, but a $25,000 fine. There's 51 co-defendants. We were all there at the very end of working 8 to 10 years to try every way possible to get our government agencies to talk to one another, to work together to help these dogs. And in the end, it was a lot of finger pointing and no one really taking responsibility. So it's a broken system in Wisconsin that I hope, if we step back, we can improve this so that we can uphold our own state's animal cruelty laws. So it's a rescue in this case, and I felt a legal and moral obligation to go in at this point after every other effort.
Are you nervous? Are you scared? 12 years in prison. That's what's on the table if convicted.
Yes, it's daunting. I'm really, more than anything, I'm sad that it came to this and that my own state, my own government is prosecuting and spending all the resources on 51 defendants. It's unfortunate. And sure, I'm a little scared, but I also felt compelled morally to do this. And so did the others.
If you would have told, if 10 years ago, you'd go back in time and tell yourself, like, I'm willing, I'm committed to this cause so much that I'm going to risk going to jail, would you have believed yourself? Or, like, what would your thought process have been?
I just wouldn't have believed that this would have happened. I would have thought within this time period, and even with our open rescue being so open, we invited the police to help us. We, asked, please, let's help these dogs, come to some negotiation, and it didn't come to that. So it's not what I expected. It's kind of, in that case, it's the worst case scenario. I'm disappointed in my government, and we can do better. Americans don't support animal cruelty, and we have a lot of support. So that's been great.
You're helping to organize a march in New York, a march to abolish animal testing. What's planned? Because I know you'll be out there, and other people from Wisconsin will be there as well.
Yes, I believe so. It's super exciting. There's so much energy and awareness about the suffering of beagles. People didn't even know we tested on dogs in this country still. So that's been exposed. And now some organizers have created this incredible event in New York. It's a 12-day march, 200 miles. We're going to have bipartisan legislators there, celebrities, musical acts, the hard work of actually walking the march. I'm probably not going to do all of it. And it's to continue to raise awareness, bring people together, a positive event, and saying, hey, we can do better as a country. There's all these other scientific methods, chips, organs on chips, and mathematical computations to help human trial, other methods of science that are as good or better that we just need to move toward.
Why is it important to keep going after Ridgeland Farms? And I guess I want to mention New York as well. The reason that you're doing this in New York is because there's a company out in New York called Marshall Bioresources. And as some of you who are listening right now who have been following us as we've been reporting extensively on the Ridgeland Farms story for months now here in Wisconsin's Midday News, you have heard us talk about this, but Marshall Bioresources is a research facility in New York that is even larger than Ridgeland Farms. I mean, we're talking about, I think the latest report was 20,000 beagles there. So why is it so important for you guys to keep going after Ridgeland Farms? What's the ultimate goal here?
The ultimate goal is an end to animal testing and criminal abuse of animals in these types of settings. And it will come out, there is, the conditions at Marshall Bioresources are apparently quite bad, and so it's an extension. And we want to see an end to testing, especially on our companion animals at this point.
Have you noticed at all a wind change when it comes to people's maybe not even just overall knowledge that animal testing is still going on, but in supporting the cause that you are? Has the tenor changed since you got involved with something like this a decade ago?
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of this was so hidden and so difficult to imagine reaching, that the exposure that this Wisconsin, in particular, Ridgeland case brought out is incredible. And it's one of the most important animal rights issues right now in our country, and we are very glad it's exposed and that we've engendered all of this support and worked bipartisanly and all kinds of people. My defendants are students from UW up to 70, I think, and a 78-year-old, and all kinds of people.
There are a lot of people who have your back, and that voice is growing louder, but not everybody does. There are still people out there, including some of our fans writing in right now saying, nice job making heroes out of, their words, scumbag protesters. Another one, stop giving these criminals airtime. There are people, including some of our fans listening, who still don't agree with this, who say, listen, you broke the law. There are laws and you broke them, and now you have to face the consequences. I'm curious for you, 8 years after all of your efforts, how do you hope the Ridgeland Farm story is remembered?
If there's a dog in a hot car, you have the right to go in and rescue it. There are 300 violations of animal cruelty by this company. It's still legal to test on animals. It's still legal to run a business testing on animals. It's not legal to be operating with that many, violations of cruelty. We're not sure why that was allowed to happen for a decade. That's why this is why we went in. And I forgot your question.
I just wondered, 8 years. You spent 8 years ultimately trying to have happen what's happening now. We're days away from Ridgeland Farms no longer having beagles at its facility. And I just wondered how you hope this whole story is remembered.
I think it's a watershed moment. I think people will realize that it's important to uphold animal cruelty laws, no matter whether you're in Wisconsin or New York. And we don't support animal cruelty in this country. We need to take a stand. Are we brave? It doesn't matter. We know the animals were suffering every single day at Ridgeland Farms and under criminal abuse. And I I was there. I heard those cries of 1,000 dogs. I could smell that stench of the ammonia and the waste that they had to live in. It's no being should have to experience that.
Well, Lisa, we'll have to
like that.
stay in touch with you as you continue to help organize those efforts for a march coming up in New York, a march to abolish animal testing that will be this fall. We appreciate you joining us. That's Lisa Castanazzi from Shorewood. Thank you so much.
Yes, and may I add, it's marchforanimals.org.
Marchforanimals.org if you want to check it out more. I also want to make note, too, because we do have, people, this has been a very passionate story. People are very passionate about this on both sides. I will let you know in case you haven't heard me say it before, but I have reached out to Ridgeland Farms on numerous occasions to talk with the owners as well. I've given them that opportunity. We have spoken with the spokesperson for Ridgeland Farms. We've also spoken with the attorney for Ridgeland Farms. But on numerous occasions, I have requested to have an interview, a sit-down interview with the owners of Ridgeland Farms, and they have yet to say yes to that. I have even said if they were concerned about security or their faces being shown, that in order to have their side of the story be told, that I would be willing to disguise them. But that they have not said yes to that yet. But we have tried. In fact, I think I've tried 4 times now. So I do want you all to know that ask has been put out there. It's 2:52.
25 years ago, a generational Bucks team made an unforgettable run.
This is the place to be.
Light It Up, narrated by Jim Paschke, is the new season of the Behind the Bucks podcast, presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. This is the oral history of the 2000-2001 Milwaukee Bucks and their run to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals.
Absolute bedlam here at the Bradley Center.
Listen now on Bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and wherever you get your podcasts.
QC Kinetics helps active people stay active. People like David Boardman, police officer, competitive athlete, and gym owner who trains hard almost every day.
My body's taken a lot of abuse over the years. I've had multiple knee surgeries on both of my knees. I could barely run a mile prior to going to QC Kinetics. Doctors have all told me, hey, you are going to need knee replacements.
But QC Kinetics gave David great news.
We're going to give you the opportunity to have not one, but 2 healthy knees, and we don't have to cut you open.
And after David's regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics?
Since I've gone to them, I run 20-30 miles a week. I really wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't for QC Kinetics.
From knee pain to Ironman training.
It's a no-brainer.
Now it's your turn. Call QC Kinetics to book your free consultation today.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-667-5559. That's 414-667-5559. 414-667-5559.
Oh, man, it's getting so expensive to dine out, but not at the Mineshaft Restaurant in Hartford. WTMJ's John Mercure here. There is free pizza today at the Mineshaft. Every Monday, when you buy 1 pizza, you get a second pizza free. Buy 2 pizzas, get 2 free. Buy 5, get 5. You buy 100 pizzas, you get 100 pizzas for free. The best Monday dining value anywhere. Business owners and managers, bring in pizza for your loyal employees and clients. Your second pizza is free. Your employees are going to love it. It's great pizza. Coaches, bring in your team for free pizza. Your kids and grandkids can safely play in that huge game room. It's quietly tucked away from the dining area. It's big food. It's big fun. It's the Mineshaft. Order now for your employees and pick up your hot pizza shortly, or dine in the cool and comfortable Mineshaft restaurant in beautiful downtown Hartford or near the EAA in Oshkosh. Mondays are tough enough. Don't cook. Buy 1 pizza today. Get 1 free. MineShaftRestaurant.com. It's the amazing Mineshaft.
You're invited to summer's biggest celebration. Join Wisconsin State Fair in celebrating 175 years of memories together. Get your tickets today at wistatefair.com. Wisconsin State Fair, presented by T-Mobile, August 6th through 16th.
It's the most wonderful time of year at Staples. They've got back-to-school supplies as low as 25 cents, up to 40% off select tech, and more at staples.com/back-to-school. Staples, that was easy.
It is 2:55 on this Monday afternoon. We have been weather aware all day, and we will continue to be so. A tornado confirmed through radar in Winnebago County, so about 90 miles northwest of Milwaukee. And we're looking at some of the pictures and the video coming in, Mike, and this does not look good. You've got twisted metal, just pieces of wood scattered across highways. You've got cars that were in the midst of this. There's a warehouse that appears to be heavily damaged. We're hoping nobody's hurt, but at the end of the day, it's so early yet, we don't really know.
We don't, and we'll learn more in about a half hour from now. The City of Appleton set to hold a press conference to discuss what's going on, as well as some recovery efforts. We've also heard from the governor's office regarding state aid and things along those lines. So John and Julia coming up. They're going to have plenty more on Wisconsin's Afternoon News.
Staying active, essential for overall health. Proper medical support, essential for staying active. WTMJ.